too sweet.
All right, welcome to another edition of Attention Wrestling Disorder. We're going to go around the room here, starting with RJ Show. The whole show and nothing but the damn show.
Who's this guy in the corner? We got a certain somebody in the corner. Where am I going?
Let's go with you already, since you're always the second person to talk.
I'm going to go. I'm going to cut you off, Rod. I'm Chuck, and I'm awesome. And I'm better than you, and you know it.
Yeah, I'm the Hot Rod 521, currently in my nice straight Strong Style League finals right now. Thank you very much.
And the only person in the whole wide world to still watch Main Event and keep the lights on.
People still watch that crap?
Yeah, okay. If it wasn't for that crap right now, you might not have freaking made it to the next round.
Oh, you talking about Veer?
Yes, with that submission win.
Hey, I am killing it right now.
Okay, I'm getting distracted right now, but all right.
Let's focus. We got a tertiary time, a trifecta time of our buddy Brian in the house.
He's like the fourth mic.
Brian Mannix, the first three-time guest of AWD.
Indeed.
No names or catchphrases needed. Gentlemen, we got a lot to get to, as you know. We should just get right down to it. Very busy week of wrestling.
Before we do, I got stuff to get off my chest.
I'm sure you would.
All right, so we are all fans of wrestling, and a bunch of us engage, and we've talked about this before, but for people who are not familiar, you have your fantasy baseball, you have your fantasy football, but for us wrestling fans, we engage in fantasy wrestling, similar to the fantasy football, fantasy baseball, but slightly different. And we're diehard into what we've been doing. I have been into it for a while, but I've also been engaging in things outside. So I'm saying this right here. I mean, the evolution of wrestling, this next season, I'm taking time off to kind of just keep exploring what I've been doing and go from there. And I'm cool with that. And with that being said, I was engaged in a competition with the Riho of EOW.
Oh boy.
Click on this. Click on this. Yeah, you beat me. Good for you. I don't care that you beat me in the beginning of the playoffs. I don't care. I have more important things to do. I've been training, doing things on my own that are actually real and not playing games. Oh, you kicked my ass. You know why? Because I don't care. And my head's not been into it. And I love that it's eating you up. That it doesn't bother me. It's awesome that it's getting to you that it doesn't bother me, because it doesn't. I can care less. It's a game to me. And honestly, if I was really concentrating, I'd wipe the floor with you in the competition if I really, really, really wanted it. But you know what? I'm taking time off. So
that gives time for me to step in.
Congratulations, you beat me. But you know what? Robert K. and Chuck over here kicked your ass out of the finals. And that's that. Either you care or you don't, because I don't care. Congratulations for beating me. Your life's work has been completed and accomplished.
That's all right. It's all good now.
I don't care.
I care.
And
you know
that's
why
all
I care?
have to say about that.
You good? You got it off your system?
Oh,
You got that out of your system?
Oh, yeah.
Got that out? All right. That just means that I can now swoop in and beat the best friends again, Ron and Robert K. again.
We'll see about that.
Rod, I am the man. And Rod, you wanted a good heartfelt promo. I was feeling it in the feels, but you said something very important that caught me. That you have not made it to a finals in a year.
It's true.
And I'm single-handedly the reason you haven't, and that eats you up, and you know it.
It's true, but the difference is though, I still got one more championship than you though.
Quality over quantity.
Oh, here we go.
Quality over.
Here we go.
Rod.
Here we go.
Rod, I'm like your kryptonite of fantasy wrestling. I'm gonna beat you in the finals again.
Oh, yeah, okay, if you make it.
By the way, Rod, I would be very careful. Chuck, I'd be very careful because the enemy of my enemy has become my friend.
Is that so?
Or actually, you're not really my enemies, but if
I don't really consider them my enemies. I just break chop.
I
Right.
would start a faction, I would start it. Me and Robert K found out we have a lot more in common. So,
Oh boy.
apparently, he trained under this dude, Damian Dragon, who I actually met many years ago when a buddy of mine was reffing a match in New Jersey. A bunch of us stopped off at this dude's house and hung out with him and his wife and his kid and just bullshitted and hung out hours before we had to be at the arena. I can't even remember what it was called, but it was in Union City, New Jersey. And I found out that he and I both trained under the sensei Miyazaki. He did it in the Queen's Dojo, and I trained in Rockville Center. So we both have that in common, that we both know Damian Dragon.
So they're cooler than us, Rod. That's what he's telling you.
Basically, yeah. And I would side against both of you and form a new tag team alliance with Robert K.
Hey, that would be a funny alliance. And then me and Rod become the Mega Powers
Oh,
because
forget
we're like
about
the biggest
it.
rivals ever.
Right.
Because
I would totally start
Hey,
a faction with that
If
guy.
people think me and Chuck are dangerous against each other, with each other, forget about it.
oh fuck that. You are all fucked. If me and you were team, Rod,
Oh,
world would be fucked.
it'd be unfair. It'd be almost unfair.
It's ridiculous. The reason we but Rod, the reason we work so well is because we're so different. I want to be your rival. I don't want to be your partner. I want to be your rival because
Oh,
I
I'm
have
just
different
saying,
tastes, and my
if we
taste is
ever
better than
decided-
yours, and you know it.
Yeah, please.
I don't
If
know
we ever
about you
decided to
guys,
come
but-
together, it'd be a wrap.
I am watching CM Punk and Max Caster go at it on AEW while we're talking.
Let's go, Punk.
All right, I have it off, so
Go
please
Casper.
don't say anything.
We're not saying
Okay.
we're not going to discuss it. No more
We're not
AEW
gonna-
Oh no, I'm just
conversation.
saying that. Well, okay,
I don't have it
can
on yet
say-
either. Like my TV's being all wonky. Apparently my
But you
technology is very
really think
wonky
I'm
today.
gonna
I'm
miss
sorry.
my show? Anyway, all right. So
Let's get
we
into some stuff.
we got all of the fantasy wrestling
The
chat out of the
rigmarole is
way,
done.
but it's part of who we are. It's part of what we do. I'm taking a break, a little break from it. I'll be back, but I'm taking a break from it. But that's a part of our obsession with wrestling, and I'm proud of it. So now
All right.
Brian has hinted that we have a lot of big things coming up. WrestleMania weekend is upon us.
Yes, it is.
NXT Stand and Deliver is upon us.
Yep.
AEW is still doing what they do and still doing a hell of a great job. And WWE's WrestleMania, I'm not really sure I'm ready. I'm not really sure how I feel about it, but that's my lead into it. Chuck, Brian, Rod, whoever wants to go from there, go from there.
Plus, not to mention, you do got the return of Ring of Honor, the Ring of Honor Supercard of Honor.
Absolutely.
I'm
You
excited
got
about that.
Impact Wrestling multiversal matches.
That I'm actually weirdly almost excited about, but probably not because it's still Impact.
Oh my God, you hater.
Well, it's not though, because Tony Khan owns it, even though the belts are in Impact, which is strange. And
It's a weird partnership that makes no sense anymore. I'm going to be honest with you guys. I'm a little resistful of where Ring of Honor is going. I'm super stoked that it's going to be back, but I'm resistful because of how I feel like every time like a bigger
curious to
company.
see what kind of TV deal they're going to get. I think that's going to be key. What kind of TV deal he's going to be able to get them?
Well,
And
here's the
who's
thing.
going to be involved behind the scenes? You know what I mean? If
Yeah.
Carrie's going to be, Carrie Silken, you talk about the Wrestling Observer Hall of Fame. The Observer Hall of Fame is really wrestling's most respected Hall of Fame. It's not political. It's voted on by wrestlers and people involved in the business.
Exactly.
Writers, whatever, road agents, commentators. It's voted among people in the business. It's not who can come to the dinner, who does Vince have and not have a problem with. It's about who did and who didn't touch Stephanie. It's about who belongs.
No, I like that, and that's important. That's not enough of that in wrestling.
Absolutely, that's why the PWI for years every month had an article chronicling Observer Hall of Famer, and they said we recognized this as the premier Hall of Fame in wrestling. They haven't done it in a while, PWI, but it really is the Hall of Fame that's done the best. And
I can't argue that.
I agree.
I can't argue that.
Absolutely. Carrie Silken, he belongs in the Hall of Fame because when you think about it, the better part of every guy who's ever amounted to anything in the past 20 years, give or take, got started in Ring of Honor.
It's true. I agree.
Yeah.
And the reason I'm resistant is, like you said, I'm resistant because of who's going to be running it, or is it going to be kind of like the WWE ECW, except it's going to be the AEW of Honor? You don't know, because it runs that risk too. Depending.
I don't think Tony Khan is going to do what McMahon did to ECW, because Tony Khan is first and foremost a fan of the business and is more aware
of what goes
on outside of his company.
I know. No, I know that. I'm saying I agree with you guys. I'm just saying, I'm
Tony
curious.
Khan was never trying to put Ring of Honor out of business. Vince was legitimately trying to put WWE ECW out of business. That's the difference.
You know what I hope we never hear again in Ring of Honor, though? I hope we never.
Oh, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Code of Honor
oh, Jesus Christ, here we go.
Stupid. No, you gotta hear his BS on New Japan Strong instead. I think I'm gonna switch over to Japanese commentary.
I'd agree, because I can't. Yeah, because the guy doesn't even know a finisher. It's the flippity flop, but that's not what it's called, Riccaboni. The guy doesn't know his finishers, except he finally got Jay White's finisher correct the following week.
Like
but
2
that
months.
first week, no.
It only took him like 2 months for that too.
Yeah. But I mean, go back to what we were saying. This is very comparative to WWE CW. And I think what killed that was, ECW was and always will be Paul Heyman's baby.
Yeah.
And Vince, on the other hand, is saying, even in One Night Stand, No 5, it's my show. It's my show. I'm going to at least be a part of what goes on. You're not going to do anything. You're not going to go above my head. You're not going to do anything without having it come through me. Is Tony going to be the same way?
That's what I worry about. I don't think he will be, but I do think that he's going to have more stroke on it than people think. It's a good platform to still have. There's a lot of good talent that came from it, even in AEW, and have them work that style again. Like, what bothers me to no end is Josh the Goods Woods is the pure champion, and you have him jobbing on Dark. He hasn't even made it on TV, and he's not even won on Dark.
No, he started winning matches.
Yeah,
he did win that match. You're right, touche. But for the most part, like, he's still looked at as a jobber, though.
That's the problem.
Too, in my opinion, why the ECW failed also. Like, a lot of people thought it was WWE that, wanted all those weird characters like the zombie and stuff. That wasn't WWE's doing. That was the Sci-Fi Network. Everybody wants to blame WWE. That was not WWE's doing. That was Sci-Fi Networks.
Well, then why are you doing business with people that don't know how you sell your product?
Because unfortunately, that was the only network.
Because they're getting money to spite themselves. Because that's what WWE always does. They do things to make money to spite themselves.
Unfortunately, I heard this was true. That was the only network that we even considered taking ECW with Sci-Fi. That's why they had to play ball with that network. It wasn't like they had other offers. They just like, oh, we're just gonna go with Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi was the only network that would take that ECW.
It's about time. That's all. Sorry, I'm like getting distracted by what's on TV, but I just
got. We can carry it. We're good.
I know.
What worries me about, about Khan, yes, he's got more money than Vince. Yes, there's a lot he can do and that he has done. Okay. My hope, if there's anything that bothers me about Khan, it's that, if you go to an AEW show like I have, I went there in December at the UBS Arena.
Yeah.
They, in between the shows, in between Dynamite and Rampage, he came out and made a speech and says, all right, we have this coming up, that coming up. He's no Vince McMahon. He should be in the back.
Oh yeah, no, he's not good on the mic, but like that's why he doesn't really come out on the mic that much.
You don't
He
see
really
him that
should.
much.
I mean, and I understand wrestling wants to differentiate itself from baseball, football, whatever. But when you look at the big four sports, okay, most people don't know the owners of each team. Okay, when do you see the owners in a football game? Once in the game, they'll show them up in the skybox, but just concentrate on the owners and I hope to Christ, if there's anything, I hope that Tony Khan stays away from. Okay, AEW is far from perfect. I think we could all agree on that. They make their share of brutal mistakes.
Like right now.
But the most brutal mistake they could make that I haven't yet is make Tony an evil owner. The evil boss has been done.
Or get him in the
Kind
ring.
of did that on Impact.
Kind
of did that on Impact.
Well, hopefully they don't do it on AEW.
Well, Impact is garbage, and they would do something stupid like that because they want to be cliche. AEW's never been. I mean, not AEW. Impact has never been good to me. Sorry.
Because you're a hater. That's why.
Impact is so much better than TNA.
Impact, TNA, same shit, different toilet.
No, there are weak spots. We've talked about this, but right now let's go back to focusing. We're kind of talking about AEW and Tony Khan. And let me just remind you, Brian, Tony Khan is not Vince McMahon because Tony Khan, again, is a fan, and he's not the actual owner. His father is.
Right. Right. Well, that's what I mean. The Khan.
Why people might not think AEW might not be competition to the WWE yet. Those 2021 PWI awards say different. There was 13 PWI awards. AEW won 11 of them. Not bad for a company that's not competition.
Rod, you have an excellent point. I think WWE only won one award.
They did.
AEW won everything else, and that's a very good point. And I don't remember how they did the Observer Awards, but they fared out better than WWE. I know that.
I feel like some of these magazines, like they're actually, like you said, they're not as political. So it's like, but again, there's also a lot of Meltzer favoritism in that. It's not overly political, but like a lot of the PWI and all that shit, like there's a lot of Dave Meltzer stroke in that, and Dave Meltzer shits on everything that's WWE.
Oh, that's why when Meltzer reports it to WWE, you take it with a grain of salt.
Well, you got to remember, there are people like Bruce Pritchard who have openly called Meltzer a phony. Pritchard's not now running WWE, so maybe he just doesn't like WWE because Pritchard is running it. And we'll get to just the absolute shit take that Vince and Bruce have done with WWE. We'll get to that.
Oh, don't even get me started.
Yeah. No, well, we're gonna have to get.
Well, I mean, it has a lot to do with Wrestlemania.
And the scariest part is the guy who might take over. That's scarier than both of them.
What'd you say, Red?
The scariest part is the guy who might take over for Vince.
Yeah.
Oh.
The guy that takes Monday Night Raw and he's in another hour.
Nick Khan, he's talking about.
By the
way, do you think Triple H's retirement is going to mean that do you think that Triple H may be defecting?
No,
I wanted to get to Triple H's retirement.
Duties, just not as many of his duties that he had before due to his condition. He still got some of his duties, but he can't
Which condition is this now?
Like he can't be doing what he used to be doing because like of his heart condition.
He had like minor heart failure. He physically can't work in
ring. He's got a defibrillator in his heart right now, so
he's not. Yeah, he's
so he's not coming back. Period. Like this ain't no. Oh, he's what's it, but then he might come back like in 5 years. No, he's done. Like he ain't come
He
back.
can't
yet.
wrestle. No, he can't wrestle.
No.
You got defibrillator. No, you can't fuck around with that. You can't fuck around with that.
Well, I think the big question with Triple H right now, I think you got two questions with WrestleMania coming up. Does he come out and say goodbye? Does he come out and do an impromptu match? It's a send-off match. Personally, and this goes back, and we'll get, we're trying to stay in order here. This goes back to, Undertaker.
Let's stay in order. Good luck. Good luck.
Yeah, us staying in, dude.
Another personal, just good luck.
My thing is this with Triple H, barring a miracle, we know who's going to be the class headliner for next year's Hall of Fame. We know who it's going to be.
Probably.
You never know. I mean, listen, it took the Undertaker, 2 years after his retirement to get in. Triple H, and who knows what the situation is with Triple H and Vince and all of them backstage.
We don't know.
Vince, he pretty much threw everybody out of NXT except Shawn, because Vince loves Shawn. He fired.
Shawn can't do wrong in Vince's eyes.
I'm sorry?
Shawn can't do wrong in Vince's eyes.
Right? Even the curtain call, Shawn didn't get punished for.
Is Matt Bloom no longer the head coach?
No, I think he's still like the head trainer.
I think it's like him and Matt Bloom are the only two left.
Yeah.
I think they're like the
By
only.
the way, speaking of the Hall of Fame, make sure we talk about that too.
Oh, we will.
We will.
We will.
Make sure we talk about that too.
We're gonna
We will.
There's another bone I want to pick.
Oh.
You'll pick it. But let me just ask here, because like I said, we're trying to get a little more organized here. Let me just ask
you don't what you don't understand, Brian, is that we're called attention wrestling disorder for a reason.
Right, this is true. And I saw that look on your face, Chuck. Don't think I missed that, pal. But anywho, so but wait, let me ask you here, AEW, because we have a lot. It's WrestleMania weekend. I want to talk about.
There's so much wrestling this week.
I want to talk about
Friday alone is insane.
I'm sorry.
Friday alone is insane.
I know.
Friday alone is the go home show on SmackDown, and then you got the Hall of Fame. Saturday, Stand and Deliver, and night one of WrestleMania, and night two, and Sunday's night two. We got WrestleMania. I want to go over the card, go through the matches, see what you guys think of the card, what you guys think of who's going to win. Of course, Hall of Fame. We got Stand and Deliver, and just to put the tie a bow on Triple H and AEW. Anybody else have anything they want to say about? Well, do you think Triple H is going to come out at WrestleMania?
He'll probably make an appearance.
I don't see why not.
I don't see him like doing much, but I don't see him.
No, he'll come out,
appearance.
say something.
Yeah.
It's WrestleMania.
He hasn't been around on WrestleMania in a few years. He's been concentrating on NXT.
Right.
Now that he's out, and like I said, what's the relationship with him and Vince and the rest of WWE right now?
I'm sure personally they're fine. I'm sure on a creative level there's probably a little bit of that going. Right. But I think deep down, I'm sure Vince and Triple H, from what I've heard.
Let me remind you who should be in charge, though, of WWE. Not Nick Khan. McMahon should. And I don't see why Stephanie can't
you talking about Stephanie? I thought you were going to say Shane.
No, I was going to say Stephanie.
Oh, okay. I was going to say, if you're going to say Shane.
Make the face again,
heard that happened at the Royal Rumble.
Shane.
Speaking of which, they're saying he's going to be around for WrestleMania, so rumors are flying about what he might be doing.
Yeah, we'll hit that, but yeah, I agree about that. Again, we'll cross that bridge when we get to it, but I know where you're going with that. And if WWE does go with that, they are completely fucking up.
Well, what are you talking about,
They
Chuck?
definitely can recreate what's happening on the screen now. That's all I got to say.
Apparently, Shane's going to be at WrestleMania this year. They haven't said what he's going to be doing yet, but rumors are flying that, I don't want to exactly fully say it yet until we get to it, but
I'm going to say it because someone told me. Fine, I'll save it for when we talk about it, but someone told me what the rumor is about Shane. I'm not happy about it.
I read the rumor.
So,
when we actually hit the Mania card, we'll touch the Shane rumor.
Yeah.
I'm gonna respect Brian tonight. We're gonna stay organized. Brian, carry on.
We'll try, but I don't see how 3 you know, I don't see how you can stay organized when we're how we are.
We can try. I mean, you know, no one says we are, but we can.
Brian's
give it
gonna
a
fall
attempt.
right in line with us, and it's gonna be hilarious.
You know what, guys? When there's a will, there's a way. And I mean anything. Because AEW, that is important because it's giving the WWE the biggest competition anybody's given them in
Ever.
about 20
Right.
years.
Almost
Especially
ever, except
right
for the
now,
individual.
this very moment.
And so they're, you know, and the thing is, I can't help but think if Vince saw AEW as real competition, would he have let Chris Jericho on the Austin show while
No.
Jericho was a current AEW employee?
No.
Or maybe he's using Chris to bring in some AEW viewers.
Probably both.
Well, you know, you already heard that there's a couple of guys on the AEW roster that WWE is highly, you know, looking
He wants to get in on
to.
the forbidden door.
There's two guys on the AEW roster right now that WWE said he would love to have in the WWE. You already know who one of them is.
Oh yeah.
Who are they?
And you know it?
MJF and Ethan Page.
That's interesting. One, I don't think comes as a surprise. And the second, I think does come as a surprise. I mean, hey, listen, who wouldn't want either of those guys in their company? MJF is, he is the biggest heel to come out in
my God.
how long? How long? You know, he is the biggest heel to come out in how long? He does what I love. He's a heel, full and through and through.
He's the best heel in wrestling right now for the sheer fact that he is so over the top and he is so protective of his character and what he does in the business to the point where, like, it's incredible because he just doesn't break character. Like, in an industry where that business has been exposed 800 times over, he protects it like no one has in like 20 years.
That's right. No, you gotta love protecting K5, and K5 unfortunately has gone the way of the Buffalo, especially with the Undertaker retiring and him retiring the way he did.
Yeah.
Now, what was that?
I'm about to throw the phone at the TV.
Oh, okay.
I don't want to know. I'm not watching
No,
yet,
me
so
neither.
I will.
You're not gonna know, but Rod and I already know.
Oh, I will say it was a hell of a match. So that much I can say without
Yeah,
Brian, I know
I'm
nothing
gonna
right
say
now.
the
I'm
same
with you,
thing.
so
without giving
I'll watch
away
it later.
who
I'll watch it
wrestled or
once,
what
we'll
it was a hell of a match.
I'm
You
not
guys are gonna
telling you
enjoy
who
this
or
match
what.
when you see it.
I'm just telling you, I want to throw my phone at the TV right now.
All right. But so yeah, I agree with you, Chuck. MJF has really carried on.
Okay, that's why I like
and
to see
really
good
hope.
sportsmanship. I like to see good sportsmanship.
Yeah,
Of course
that's
you like
nice.
to see
The code of
sportsmanship, Rod.
honor.
Rod's a big mark for the code of honor.
Oh yeah, there's
Yes.
nothing wrong with good sportsmanship.
Sportsmanship.
You and Ian
Like
Riccaboni would get along swimmingly, or famously, Rod.
Well, I like
Oh,
people
that'd
that
be
don't hate
besties, you
Riccaboni,
kidding?
so
They'd be marking out over the most cliche baby faces in wrestling.
oh my god, such a hater.
I'm not a hater.
Oh yeah,
You might
okay.
as well be Ian Riccaboni's next co-commentator.
Oh, me and Riccaboni would kill it.
Yeah, you both have the same views. It would be you
Oh, my
need
God.
someone like me
Oh
to kind of be in
Lord.
between that. You guys would both be like, "Oh, he's a great wrestler. Yeah, he's a great wrestler. He's a perfect he's very." You guys would not disagree on anything.
I'd be
All right,
vomiting in
well,
a bag if I
without
listened to those
spoiling
two
anything,
commentary.
I do have a question I do want to ask though about tonight's show without spoiling anything. Who do we think is the person that's facing the bunny tonight?
Who do we think?
Yes, it's the person that's facing the bunny tonight.
I
Who's
heard a
facing
rumor.
the bunny tonight?
The bunny
Yes.
alley. I heard a rumor. I don't know if it's true. I know nothing.
I've heard 3 possible candidates.
I heard one, and that's the one I'm sticking with.
Who?
I forget what her name is now, what she's going by, but I'm going to say Ember Moon.
Really?
That's one.
I've heard
I've heard Tony Storm's a possibility.
That would be interesting.
And
I
That would
Tegan
be
Knox
great.
also.
He's right about Moon because I don't know, like some dude I saw I was watching like on TikTok, someone was playing WWE 2K and they did AEW, and it was like, you know, created AEW female wrestlers, but one of them was Ember Moon. So I'm like, oh, what does that mean?
I mean,
Yeah.
it could be
What?
Omen.
Wouldn't
Possibly.
shock me.
It could be Tony Storm.
It could
Yep.
be Tegan Knox. I've also heard her name thrown in there.
I'd be okay with any of them. Here's one thing though that I will say that that AEW does kind of wrong. They've officially hit a point where they literally have snatched up every ex WWE talent with any value, and it completely destroys the credibility of any of those talents. It's now the net.
And now it's getting to a point now where AEW has to pull the WWE and start releasing some of this talent because they got so much
my
talent.
point, and that's where I was going with that. It's the fact that
you heard
now
about Marco, right?
Yeah. Are they releasing Marco Stunt?
Yes.
Probably.
From what I
When
hear,
was that
Marco
official?
Stunt and two
Janela.
guys are gone. Marco Stunt.
Joey Janela's another one.
Janelle's
Who?
got it.
Who?
Oh,
Joey
Joey
Janela.
Janela's another one.
And Joey Janela. You see, I like Joey Janela, but again, okay, and I'll just say this. I was at a signing not too long ago. I was talking to somebody who's within AEW. AEW, he said they have way too many guys and releases are coming. The releases are going to be.
Well, it was inevitable, unfortunately. Is it going to be like 80-something superstars like WWE did? No, but releases are coming.
Well,
but we know where they are, by the way. We know where they are.
Well, from what he said the releases are going to be based on guys who are assholes that are cancer to the locker room, and guys that they just
released,
and the guys that they just have nothing for right now. But a roster cut is probably inevitable.
I have 3 letters for you, Mannix. I have 3 letters for you. GCW. That's where Stunt and Janela have been.
Right.
GCW is awesome. I love GCW. It's honestly amazing to watch. It's probably the best indie going right now. What happened?
When they have a TV deal, that's going to be a big thing too.
Well, I mean, Nick Gage did win the Indie Wrestler of the Year from the PWI. So
I think GCW needs to stay doing what they're already doing. Don't try to get bigger. Try and hit the key points you already hit, because you're hitting at points that no other company's hitting. Stick with your wheelhouse and just run with it.
I hate to say it, Chuck. They're the modern day ECW.
Right. That's what they are. But that's in a great way a great thing, because it's become this era's counterculture promotion. Let it be, but don't go for the TV, because the TV deals are what killed ECW. If you think about it, that's what killed them.
Yeah, true.
Well, I think
I heard rumors like what really killed it was Heyman's lack of money management. That's what killed
But that was a big part of it.
That's
But a lot of that money management goes back to the TV deals. He mismanages money with the TV deals. That's where that comes from. Before that, he was never good at managing his money, but at least he was able to keep it alive because he didn't have all the TV overhead.
Because I mean, when said it best, they were selling out arenas every night. So how do you go bankrupt when you're selling out arenas every night? Because Heyman mismanaged money.
Yeah, and that's why if GCW
owns GCW, do you know?
I'm not sure.
What now, or just like the rights to it?
Not only the rights, who is the brains behind GCW?
It's a good question.
I'm gonna do a little recon. I'm gonna nerd out and do a little recon. See if I can find out for you, gentlemen.
And in the meantime, that's a good point, Rod. They started a new category in PWI, Indie Wrestler of the Year. Now, last year, Warhorse was the first one. And Warhorse was nowhere to be found this past year. He didn't even place in PWI. But Nick Gage, who was the first runner-up last year, won this year. I'll tell you.
I think the last time I believe I saw Warhorse, it was he went up against I think Gino Navarro and MLW was the last time I remember seeing him.
Right. I mean, Nick Gage, ever since that Dark Side of the Ring, he's been on fire.
Yeah, because he's been around a long time and he's done some crazy shit and whatever. And he's that extreme deathmatch guy that kind of. But going back to it, So
Man,
originally,
man. He says that a lot, Nick Gage. Yeah, man. This man.
he
Anyway.
does. So going back to GCW, so the current owner is Brett Lauderdale, but the original owner was a guy named Ricky Otazu. He started it. He brought it back. Danny Demanto took it over, and now Brett Lauderdale has it.
Is Brett Lauderdale from Fort Lauderdale?
I don't know.
Oh my god.
I don't
Who
think
knows?
so. I'm sure he's from Jersey, considering they're founded in Jersey. They're centralized in Jersey. So I'm
I
assuming.
just had to make that bad joke.
Oh, I know. You Floridian folk.
I'm a New Yorker. I just have dad jokes. I'm a dad.
You are a dad with dad jokes living in the 6th borough, so I get it.
Jesus. But God forbid, a million, billion, trillion times.
God.
But anyway, let's get to why we're here today. Actually, let me ask you guys quick. You know, I know this happened 2 weeks ago, but it hasn't, not since we haven't had an AWD since this incident. And that, of course, I'm going to get you guys on the take on the passing of Scott Hall. You know.
Oh, that's true.
Yes.
Yeah,
and
this guy's been crazy.
I don't know about you guys. I was very, I wouldn't know if surprised is the right word, but when it comes to wrestling, the wrestling world was really out in full force with this one. You saw everything on social media, from Twitter to Instagram to wherever. You saw the memes, the pictures, the stories, the tweets, and not only in the wrestling world, but in the pop culture world. I mean, this was a very high profile loss.
Yeah.
We talked about Triple H before. What about Scott Hall? Anybody got anything to say about Scott Hall?
Here's the thing about
Scott
Scott.
Hall was a game changer.
Yes, he
Scott
was.
Hall
Yeah.
did, despite all of his issues with
Personal
addiction and
demons.
whatnot, that dude was a part of one of the biggest wrestling revolutions in history.
Not only that, but the way guaranteed contracts were done.
Yeah.
Scott, even though he wasn't technically the first one, his contract set the precedent for the way current contracts are done. Like the first guaranteed contract was Mark Merrow. People don't know that.
Right.
Because technically Razor Ramon was still employed by WWE when Mark Merrow came in.
Right.
But the thing is that once, but I think apparently Scott Hall actually put his notice in before Mark Merrow came in, but I think he kind of figured out what they were doing with Merrow, and he kind of politicked his way with Bischoff to do a similar thing. But whatever happened, I don't know the full details, but I do know that the general, the core of how his guaranteed contract worked, the one that him and Nash got in WCW, that set the precedent for the last 25 years of contracts. Vince McMahon still does his contracts the same way that they did Hall and Nash's contracts at WCW. And the crazy thing is, AEW to a point almost does the same thing in their own rights.
Why would Johnny B. Bad have a guaranteed contract?
I guess back then Vince had high hopes for him.
I'm gonna say this too about Scott Hall. In my opinion, WWE's blown a golden opportunity to not only have a marquee match at WrestleMania, but to honor Scott Hall. You got the best high flying party in your company right now, Ricochet's IC champion. Why not have a ladder match for the title? Honor Scott Hall that way.
I would agree.
Would've
But
been
instead, you're gonna
great.
have him defending it against a tag team in a triple threat match on SmackDown.
You know what I'd love. You want to know my dream match for WrestleMania this year would have been, but they're not going to do it. But here's my personal one that I would have loved to have seen to honor Scott Hall for a number of reasons. You know what they should have done?
Wow.
A title unification match. Ricochet, Finn Balor, title unification in a ladder match. Because who started the Too Sweet again with the Bullet Club? Prince Devitt.
There you
It was
go.
a good omen.
Oh yeah, that would make
Would have
a
been a great
lot of
omen.
sense.
Ricochet is the Intercontinental Champion currently.
I listen.
It's sad. Neither one of those two titles are getting defended at WrestleMania. It's sad.
That's the one. I will say that. Well, we'll touch on this more when we actually hit it. But I will say that the mid-card titles are the one thing that WWE is doing right now. That's the one thing they're actually doing almost correctly.
Except the fact they're not getting defended on the biggest show of the year, but that's besides the point.
That I agree
They
with too.
should be defending every title on WrestleMania.
I mean, I don't know if you guys know this or not. I mean,
You guys have not let Brian sit more than 40 inch lines.
Well, okay.
I don't know,
Number-
Brian. I don't know if you know this or not, but you realize not since WrestleMania last year has the IC title been defended on pay-per-view.
No, it hasn't.
Since WrestleMania last year.
It's true.
There was a time where it went years without getting defended at WrestleMania. I agree with Jay 100% that all the titles should be defended on
I agree
wrestling's biggest stage.
Not just the pre-show.
And Chuck, I disagree with you. And again, we'll talk to this when we get to it, about how the mid I think the mid-card titles have been used horribly. We'll get to that.
I guess I'll rephrase that. I'm saying it has the potential to be done right now.
Right. I agree. And
I'll rephrase that when we get to it.
Just two things about Scott Hall before we move on, Tim. We'll talk about WrestleMania. Number one, when you think of Razor Ramon, the wrestler, okay, when you think of his matches, the only matches you really think of are the ladder matches, okay? That's not to say Scott didn't have a great career, because he did. There's a reason his passing got so much attention, okay? Well, when you think of him as a wrestler, you mainly think of the Razor's Edge. He may have had the best fall-away slam in the history of the business.
Again.
And after his passing, I read a tweet. Somebody asked Sean Waltman, should we, how they name moves after wrestlers, the Lou Thesz press, this Spicoli driver, the what's it called? The Michinoku driver. Should we name it the Scott Hall suplex? And Waltman said, hell no, we should call it the bag of shit, because that's what Scott called it, the bag of shit. But he had the best, he might have had the best follow-away. Tell me somebody who did the fall-away slam like he did. I don't think you can name somebody.
You can't. That's why it's forever the Holloway Slam.
Absolutely. He should be the Holloway Slam.
There you go.
There you go.
I just gave wrestling their next $1 million
But
idea.
are we going to call the perfect plex the Henningplex?
It was the Henningplex.
It's the perfect plex. It's
But
the
you never-
fisherman suplex, but it should be called I agree. It should be called the perfect plex.
It is the perfect plex. No, but I was saying that in WCW they did call it the Henningplex.
Right. Well, they couldn't call. Yeah, that was different.
I'm just saying.
But,
I'm saying they did call it that. That's all I'm saying.
I just want to say, to emphasize when you guys were talking about Scott Hall going to WCW, when you talk about epic moments that aren't talked about, okay?
I have to remind you of something. I'm sorry, Brian, but Scott Hall was in WCW before he was Razor Ramon.
We all know that.
Yes, he
Nice story.
was. Yes, well, I meant when him signing to WCW going from WWF to WCW is one of the most epic moments in wrestling history, because yes, they had gone after WCW guys. They got Hogan, they got Macho Man, they got Duggan, a bunch of guys. But this was the first time where they really tackled the new generation. New generation, the main guys, Brett, Shawn, Undertaker, Diesel, and Razor. I mean, there were more, but those are basically your top five.
Yeah.
You got one of the Vince's top five guys, okay? Then what you do is you put a favored nations in his contract. Now, for those of you who don't know what a favored nations is, let's say I have a company and I hire Chuck. 3 years.
Oh boy.
I hire Chuck. I'm doing a lot of drinking and drugs, but I hire Chuck, okay? I hire Chuck 3 years, $1 million a year. Then I go and hire Rod. I must really be drinking. I hire Rod.
Oh, that's hilarious.
Years, I hire Rod. I put a favored nations in Chuck's contract. Now I go and hire Rod. I hire Rod, same years, 3 years, but now $2 million. I now have to, since Chuck has a favored nations, I got to go back into Chuck's contract and redo it. He has to be making at least what Rod is making.
Yep.
Now, if Rod and Chuck have favored nations and I go and hire Jay, and I hire Jay for more when I'm paying Rod and Chuck, I now have to go back in both their contracts and redo them. Then that was kind of the beginning of WCW's downfall. If Scott doesn't sign with WCW, do favored nations exist?
No.
does Diesel go? Because Kevin Nash's story is he got the offer from WCW. He went to Vince, and Vince, he said, if you can match this, I'll stay. I want to stay. But you can match this, I'll stay. If you can't, I got to go. And Vince said, if I do that for you, I got to do it for him, and him. So does Scott go if does Diesel go if Scott doesn't go first? Then
Right.
You have the curtain call. Say what you will about the curtain call and how disrespectful it was, yada, yada, yada. But you know what? 6 years later, we're still talking about it.
Exactly.
And then,
in my opinion, it wasn't disrespectful. I don't
It
find it
changed
disrespectful.
how we viewed wrestling, is what it did.
Well,
you talk about, Jason, you like to talk about the forbidden door. Scott Hall signing with WCW was the beginning of the forbidden door. The company that won't go anywhere near the forbidden door, they kind of started it because there was about a month before their contracts officially expired, Vince McMahon was on New Sport Talk with Chet Kopic, which was a show that aired on ESPN back in the 90s.
right.
And a caller asked, is it true that Razor Ramon and Diesel are going to WCW? And Vince said yes. And that was the first time he mentioned their names, Scott Hall and Kevin Nash.
I remember that, actually.
Yep. And then after they left, in the middle of Raw, in the middle of a match, you could probably find it on YouTube. On commentary, Vince says two wrestlers aren't here anymore. They're Diesel and Razor Ramon and whatever. And then you had, of course, the godforsaken fake Razor and Diesel gimmick. But again, if they don't leave, if Scott Hall doesn't sign, does Kevin go with them? Or do you have guaranteed contracts? Do you have favored nations? Does the NWO ever start? Because let's be honest, Scott Hall signing with WCW, everybody talks about the first shot of the Monday Night Wars. If you want to get technical, the first shot was when Nitro premiered. Then the second shot was when Lex came out on a live Nitro, when he was also on a taped Raw. Then Medusa comes out, throws the title in the garbage, and then Scott Hall comes, and wrestling is forever. So Scott Hall signing a very epic moment that nobody talks about.
Yeah, pretty much.
Anybody
Literally, and it's crazy too, because with Lex Luger, he wasn't on the Raw, but he was on the live event the night before. That was his last night. And then he showed up on Nitro because it was like, well, my deal's done.
What happened? What they say was like it was a handshake agreement.
Luger probably, and I guess WCW offered him a better deal because at that time, Eric Bischoff was.
From what I heard, it was a handshake agreement with Luger and Vince.
It
wasn't like it right. It was a handshake agreement.
Probably. And
but unfortunately, you know how handshakes go in wrestling sometimes.
That's any business, Rod. That's anywhere you go with a handshake. Rod, we can make a deal with each other to have a handshake, and then you can turn around and do whatever the fuck you want. What good is it? It's a handshake. You know what I mean?
Handshakes don't pay the bill.
No, they don't. That's the point. Well, even Tommy Dreamer said he had that deal with Paul Heyman too, with ECW. Tommy Dreamer was more loyal about it.
Exactly.
Tommy Dreamer never signed a formal contract with Paul Heyman. They were on a handshake, and Tommy worked under him for the entire time. He was like the second or third in command of the whole company.
Yep, absolutely. And so it's just and I just want to say, this just goes to show people see what happened to Scott Hall, his heart failure, even though he's been sober for several years. People think, I could still die from it. No point in getting sober. Yes, there is, because every day counts.
Every day does count.
Right.
It allowed him to live longer.
Absolutely. Every day counts, and if think about not just you, but think about the people around you whose lives won't be the same without you. So, on that wonderful note, I mean, anything else about Scott Hall before we go on?
I think we have hit the key points of his wonderful career and how he will be missed. Yeah.
The fact that he still influences, guys like Damian Priest.
Oh, yeah.
Sure. Page.
A lot of
Sure.
guys. Yeah, no, he's a very influential character.
With the ego's edge, yeah.
You know, and keep in mind, hey, listen, Razor Ramon, I mean, Carlito was basically an updated version of Razor Ramon.
He was.
He was.
And Chuck, by the way, I love your idea. Chuck, I agree 1,000%. All the titles should be unified. We said this before. There are way too many titles in the company. There should only be a heavyweight champion, a mid-card, which would be the Intercontinental, one tag team, one women's. And the champions would do what they did originally, be on both shows, just the champions. And I think it can work. But that's another story for another time. I just want to say, before we get on WrestleMania, Rod, it's great to see you actually sitting up this week. Doesn't look like you just got up from a nap. So this is the most lively I've seen you look. You look great.
Thank you. But
Okay.
I do want to say something about what you were saying about like the unifications of the titles.
Sure. Yeah,
I'm
sure.
going to disagree with that statement, and here's why I'm going to disagree with that statement. If
Okay.
you're going, you can't have the brand split and have unified titles.
Why not?
Because I like having the brand split, because think about it. With everything that's going on right now, you are more likely to catch it with more people in your arena. That means having more superstars together. These brand splits help somewhat contain what's going on right now. And everybody knows what I'm talking about. So
I agree with. But what I disagree with is having so many titles, because it devalues the ultimate value of those
I
titles.
agree with that. But let me just.
And they did this too. Didn't they already have the unifications like years ago?
And then they brought them back.
when they split the
WWE
brands
does
up,
this
they
thing,
brought
but
them back.
WWE does this thing where they play hot potato with all that shit. They've been doing it for 40 years, where they play hot potato with their titles. They add this title, they drop this title, they bring this title back, they drop this title. They keep going back to with the same titles. They've been doing it for 40 years.
I agree 1,000%. Now listen, the
They've been doing it
titles
for
are
40 years.
What'd you say, Chuck?
They've been doing it for 40 years.
For 40 years. I
They've
mean,
been doing
it's,
this.
you know, I mean, well, I don't know about 40 years, but
It's been a long time, on and off.
in the late 90s, they started it. And yeah, the titles have lost tremendous amounts of credibility. Can you bring the credibility back? Never say never. But here's the thing, and this goes back to AEW making crucial mistakes. AEW, the TBS women's title, that's garbage.
It's
Absolute garbage.
It's a stupid title.
The Jade Cargill title. It's the equivalent of what Major League Baseball did. That rule, it's now basically the Ohtani rule, how pitches that come out of a game can be eligible to pinch hit or DH or whatever. It's the Ohtani rule. It's the Jade Cargill title. Let's be honest.
It's a gimmick title. It's about as valuable as the FTW title that Ricky Starks holds.
I think it's less valuable, and that is not a joke. I think it's less valuable, and that is not a joke. Okay, before you know it, they'll have a women's tag championship.
Well,
Hey,
they're doing already.
Hey,
Wait, Brian. I think you just gave their next idea.
Anna Jay already has come out saying AEW needs women's tag titles. She's already come out and said it.
Who said that?
Anna Jay.
No, that's nice.
So, you know,
because they have so it's a ploy that to keep the Dark Order relevant. Let's put the titles on the two of them. Because let's call a spade a spade. They're an irrelevant faction.
Ban the Dark Order.
It's old. It's done.
Yeah, but that's not going to happen anytime soon.
3
though.
years old.
They had that little mini split, but now they're back together. So
yeah, but it was not.
I feel like they're still hanging on to that. But here's the problem with it. Like rest in peace, Brody Lee. Amazing talent, very underrated for what he was.
Yes.
But you're still getting that post Brody Lee babyface death push out of the Dark Order, and it's old and it's stale, and they're not doing anything with it.
Right, I agree.
It's just their way of keeping Brody Lee's memory alive. And unfortunately, that stuff runs its course. It's nothing against Brody Lee, but you know what I mean? Like, I feel like they're doing it to keep Brody Lee's memory alive, and it's just not the way to do it.
I'm going to jump in here and say that that's the only faction that hasn't moved on, and other big, like, Inner Circle's already split up, and
The
now
Pinnacle getting ready to
the
split up the
Pinnacle's
way it's
kind of
looking.
falling apart.
Because, well, here's the
Right.
thing that makes no sense about the Pinnacle. They kind of gave Wardlow the boot. That's fine. They're having the whole MJF Wardlow angle, which is a good angle. It's a good told story. It's going to elevate Wardlow to be the next like big baby face in a way, but MJF won't lose any credit for it. But now the other problem is their FTR is still part of Pinnacle, but they're pretty much babyface now because they fired Tully Blanchard and they were out. He
I'm
came
not
out.
saying
They had the
anything.
singles match, Cash and
I'm not
Dax.
saying anything.
I'm not. I
Okay,
know. I'm
good.
just, so I'll watch later. I'll find out. But I'm saying there was a match. Was it last week or 2 weeks ago? It was Punk and Harwood. I think it was Dax and Punk, and Cash was out there, and it wasn't normally like Cash would get involved in the match. Cash just stood out there. He was doing the baby facing. He was just being supportive. It wasn't like,
Right.
oh, I'm gonna help him win. It was, I'm being supportive of my friend, and that's a babyface move.
I agree. And that's another thing, Chuck, and both companies are doing this, especially WWE. You have matches are always better when it's a face against a heel. Okay. You're seeing faces versus faces more than ever, but now you're starting to see heels against heels. When it's a heel against a heel, it's two wrestlers people don't like that are billed as heels against each other. The crowd reaction is lukewarm at best. If you're
The only company that
They did that last night on NXT with Ivy Nile and the
Who
Daddy
did?
Girl.
who was the baby face? Go ahead, Chuck. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, the only
I think
company,
Ivy Nile was the fans love Ivy Nile. You know, she's a
I
heel.
think
They
I do
love her
think
in NXT.
I have two things I'm gonna say. Going on the Diamond Mine thing first, even though they're supposed to be heels, I feel like the Diamond Mine have become baby faces. They baby faced to the death.
But nothing's official. That's my point. But go
Yeah.
ahead.
No, it's
Right.
not official, but I feel like but going back, the only company that can make the heel versus heel thing work to a point is New Japan. They're the only company that does it where it's like people actually get engaged by it because it's not about the story. It's about the
Right.
competition of it. It's the wrestling. It's more of a
I
sport.
have to remind you guys of something.
Yeah.
Shawn Michaels versus Rick Martel.
Again,
That
that
was-
was a miss. That was stupid, and they fucked that up because if they were smart, Rick Martel would have turned babyface in that feud, but they fucked that up too.
They did.
That's just my opinion on it. That should have been Rick Martel's babyface turn
I agree.
as the model because Rick Martel was forever a babyface. He was a better heel than he was a babyface, but he was more known for being a babyface before his WWF run.
You see, I thought Rick was a better face than a heel, but that's a story for another time.
I just
But,
loved the model gimmick. That's why I thought he was great in that gimmick.
Oh, sure. Listen, Rick was a great wrestler, and it's unfortunate he kind of after he left the
Arrogant.
AWA, he kind of hit a glass ceiling, and and that's what's weird. We go back to funny how we just got off talking about Scott Hall. He became the Intercontinental Champion. Shawn Michaels got suspended, had to relinquish the title. They had that battle royal where the last two men standing would face off the next week. Those two men, Scott Hall and Rick Martel.
Yeah.
You couldn't lose it. You couldn't lose either way.
Yeah.
So guys, anything to talk about before we talk about what
I think it's time to start hitting the main points. I think it's ready to hit the
Let's
main
hit
points.
the Mania, but can we please talk about the atrocity in the Hall of Fame?
Okay, let's do that.
Yeah, we can
first.
segue into what made it. I like that idea. And actually, you kept it in order, Jake. Give yourself credit.
Absolutely. I'm sorry, Chuck.
Right.
I said give yourself credit for actually being organized with that comment and actually segueing properly. Way to go. We're
Me or
honoring
Jay?
Brian. Good job.
but listen, because the Hall of Fame will be quick to talk about. Jay, go ahead. This has been something you've been wanting to get off your chest.
Yes.
Go ahead. You got the floor.
Okay.
It's all you.
There are things in the Hall of Fame. Just run down quickly who's in the Hall of Fame.
You mean
Don't
who's getting inducted?
Don't say her name yet.
Oh my god! All right,
Don't say
you got
don't
the
say
class.
that name yet.
All right, you got the class headline The Undertaker,
Right?
the Mastodon, the man they call Vader,
Makes sense.
Shaq getting the Warrior Award recipient.
Happy about that.
Finally,
Right.
keep going.
You got as of this week the Steiner brothers.
Which I'm excited about. And surprised about.
Scott Steiner. Scott Steiner said he'd never do it because he was the one who said that Hall of Fame's in Vince's mind. But keep going.
I guess Braun. Braun since that changes his mind.
I guess.
Maybe, yeah.
This is my thing. Who do you got? Like, I see one or two people inducted the Steiners. It can either be Braun or Ted DiBiase.
So let's talk about women in the Hall of Fame.
Oh boy,
You've had, let's see, Wendy Richter was in there.
Yep.
Was Sherry in there?
There's
Sherry's
tons,
in there.
Jay, there's tons of women in there. But you got the point here. What's your point? You got the floor here.
No. I know what I'm doing.
Okay,
Trish
carry on.
Stratus is in there.
Lita's in there.
In there.
Jacqueline's in there.
Molly
Holly's
in there.
Medusa, Ivory. It goes
So
on.
yeah, these are women that deserve to be in there. Even Beth Phoenix deserves to be in there. They're incredible athletes.
Yes, my only thing with Beth Phoenix was she went in too early. Not the fact that she didn't deserve to go in, she just went in too early, in my opinion.
But then again, Rod, you're the only person who actually takes the Hall of Fame seriously.
Pipe
Who has
down.
not been in there yet? Who has not been in there yet? Lisa Marie, Victoria.
Right.
Another woman who established how kick-ass a woman can be in that time, taking it to Trish Stratus in those matches.
Yep, she was one half of the first ever women's steel cage match with Lita.
Yeah.
So who should be in there this year? She should. Who is in this year? If you ask me, Booker T came up to Vince McMahon and was like, my wife and I got into a fight.
There we go.
That's what it seems like to me, because what the hell does Queen Sharmell have to add to the WWE Hall of Fame that, these other women have more accolades, have done a hell of a lot more.
At least she ain't out there embarrassing the company like every other freaking month, the way a certain current WWE Hall of Fame is. And you already know who I'm talking about, so I'm not even going to say her name.
Wait, what do you think? Explain what you just said.
At least she's not out there embarrassing the company the way a current WWE female Hall of Famer does like every other month on average.
Which one?
Sunny.
Oh, Sunny, true. I forgot about her. So yeah, that was.
Well, Sunny's just a train wreck. Let's call a spade a spade.
Without a doubt.
Yeah, that was probably
she's a train wreck.
Well,
how many times has she been in jail now?
Yeah. I mean, okay, you were a Nitro girl, and then you marry Booker T, and all of a sudden, you're in the top tier. But really, what did you do in the ring?
I agree 1,000, Jay.
She did nothing in the ring. She never wrestled.
This is one of the worst inductees they ever came up with, and that's saying a lot. Say what you will about Vince Russo. He hit the nail on the head about the WWE Hall of Fame. It's become less about a showcase of the best of the best of the best, and more about just giving these guys their final moment in the sun. Coco Beware, the Bushwhackers, the list goes on and on. Jacqueline. I mean, there are a lot of people that it's like every other Hall of Fame, Jay.
Jacqueline deserved it. Jacqueline deserved it.
But
I agree
what do you
with her.
mean? No, she didn't. She was one. I mean, she
was a very influential female.
Yes, unfortunately, she was in the first, bikini match, whatever that bra pant, whatever. But
yeah, that's
she can wrestle, Brian.
Right?
She knew how to wrestle.
No, on a wrestling level, I agree that she deserves to be in the Hall of Fame. But I do think that I feel like they use that as a tool to put all their friends in to give them their last moment. I feel like it's a favorites deal.
Because my thing with Jacqueline, she was the first female ever to rank in the PWI 500.
What happened?
She was the first female ever to rank in the PWI 500.
That's true.
True. I think Jacqueline's a good talent. I'm going to give Jacqueline a benefit. She deserves to be there, but a lot of them don't. I love Coco Beware, but Remember that time Coco Beware won a match? Yeah, me neither.
Oh, wait a minute. There was an even bigger atrocity than Queen Charmel, or maybe just as bad. There were two atrocities last year. Twins.
I agree.
I love the Twins, though. I agree, but I love them.
Nah. Well, let me tell you. Outside of maybe Ronda Rousey, no females have brought Main Street to WWE the way the Bella Twins have. So I agree with them going in.
That Rod,
I can see them. Maybe some people saying it's too early. Then that I would agree with, but they are Hall of Famers. Is it too early for them? I can accept that argument, but to say they don't deserve to go in, I disagree with that.
I listen. I never liked the Bellas, but I can't argue with what they did for the company, for better or worse. They
For branding, of course.
They drew a shitload of money, and like you said, Rod, they really opened the door for other venues of entertainment. You know, you had Total Divas, then Total Bellas.
Okay, so they did that, but
you know,
because AEW doesn't have shows about that either.
So, like, go back to this year's class. What I like about this year's class is right now you only have 4 inductees. Now, rumor has it Sid is going to get in.
Well, I hope they announce it on SmackDown.
Who's going to get in?
Probably.
Sid is
Psycho
supposed to be
Sid.
getting in too.
I can't hear you. Who?
Psycho Sid.
The master, the ruler of the world.
Oh my God. I don't. That's a weird one right there, because he I don't know, like he was a big man, but that dude.
He was a multiple-time WWE and WCW World Champion, so.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that makes sense.
I like Sid. I thought he was good, but
I did like Sid. I was a Sid fan.
But I do agree with what. But to a point, I actually kind of agree with Jim Cornette said about Sid to a point back in the years with Jim Herd, where he had the fight with Jim Herd about it. And I get why he said it, and I get it now that I'm older. Like he said, Psycho Sid is that he can make you $1 million in one night. But the problem with a guy like that is you see him one time, you never want to see him again.
If we're gonna put Queen Carmel in now, if we're gonna put her in next year, let's put Eva Marie in.
No.
Oh, she's not in already.
No.
I'm surprised she's not in already.
Exactly.
No. Queen Charmel. That's
Ron, I've never
seen
seen you be more passionate about
that is a
anything
slap in the face to Queen Charmel right there, saying that nonsense. At least Queen Charmel actually cared about the damn business.
You know who really deserves to be in the WWE Hall of Fame? Stacy Keibler.
Depending on who you ask.
Because of her legs.
Her legs deserve to be in the Hall of Fame of all Hall of Fames. I'm just saying.
Tori Wilson. Why not? If Tori Wilson can get in, why not?
Tori was also in the Hall of Fame, wasn't she?
Yeah, Tori Wilson. Yeah.
Tori Wilson.
Speaking of I can't wrestle.
But that's the problem. If you look at like that era of like women, like none of them could wrestle. They were more sex symbols than wrestlers.
Why isn't Christy Hemme in the Hall of Fame for being the first Divas
search winner?
Because the Divas search was a complete disaster. But I will say this: Jay has a
the last winner of it wound up being pretty good. The last winner of it, somebody who I think could be in the Hall of Fame one day.
Who?
Eve Torres.
Overrated.
Yeah,
I agree.
Overrated.
I mean, she could actually wrestle.
Yes, I agree. She actually really became a good wrestler.
But no. I agree with you. I mean, that would be. I mean,
so was what's her name? What's her name? Mrs. Undertaker.
Michelle McCool.
Yeah, she could actually hold her own in the ring too.
Yeah, she became a good wrestler too.
She'll get that favorite deal because she's Undertaker's wife.
Well, that's
she wasn't Undertaker's wife when she got a push.
Jay has somewhat of a point. That Jay has a point that, they're getting. They are running out of women. They put one woman in a year. They're running out of women to put in there. And that may be why they have this atrocious inductee this year. Because, Victoria, but, who else can you put in? Michelle McCool, Melina,
why not?
I'm not the big, because, when I think of Hall of Fame, I think the best of the best. I think of the women that belong in there. You know who belongs? I'll tell you who belongs. And I wasn't crazy about either one of them. China, she belongs.
I agree.
And she's in.
I mean, technically she's in if you want to count that she
I
got
was
in with
about to
these.
say, please don't give me that, because you know what? Triple H belongs in on his own. I think we could all agree on that.
Yes, and he'll get it on his own.
I'm sorry?
China
He'll
should have
get in.
been on her own too, because she is the first woman to have a man's title that were meant for the men's division.
She broke the mold, and she broke the mold in so many ways. And unfortunately, you know, the choices she made in her later life killed a lot of credibility. You know, Triple H said on his, you know, podcast with Stone Cold a few years ago, when he asked him about China, he said, listen, I'm not criticizing or judging anybody, but the thing is, if we put somebody who did porn in our Hall of Fame, have a link to them, you know, we don't need kids and kids go and see what, you know, pull up her videos. They're going to get, the parents are going to come after us. It's understandable. But I agree. Listen, if you want a collection of the best, China belongs in the women's division. You can't have a women's division without China. She was a horrible wrestler. But again, her influence.
It wasn't for her. It wasn't about the wrestling. It wasn't about the wrestling.
Right.
Dude,
it was
She could go toe to toe with the guys. Come on.
Right. And the other one that, and again, I was never a fan, but she drew too much money for that company to not go in. Sable.
I was thinking the same thing.
Oh, God, Sable ruined the women's division.
But she was horrible.
But she
like,
brought so much money into that company.
Yeah, I mean, you're right, she did.
The only reason,
and she was the first to post for Playboy, and I understand Playboys come under a lot of shit after the current.
actually, Ronald Hale and Sable going to the Hall of Fame for the sheer fact that it's Brock Lesnar's wife.
No.
Yeah, right.
No. I'm here on the fact she was a women's champion. She was horrible in the ring.
And her promos were.
You want to talk about a horrible women's champion?
She was
Sable.
terrible in hindsight. Again, it was the whole Sable. The whole thing about Sable was
She was
she
in a
was
good era. She
literally
was in
the
the right
girl
era.
that Vince McMahon and Vince Russo were enamored by. That was the one.
She was in the
Like
right
they had
era.
Sunday, they had this
That-
person, they had that person, but Sable was the one they were fixated on. Like that was for some reason, like Sable was the one. Sable was like the one who basically was married to Barbaro and she knew nothing about wrestling, but she wanted to be on
She didn't
TV.
care either.
wrestling
She didn't
became
care
the
about
Did
outlet.
I miss something?
She had no passion for wrestling,
Right. My point is she wanted to be on TV and she just used wrestling as a crutch to get on TV.
basically.
Goldberg didn't have passion for wrestling either. Should he be in the Hall of Fame?
No.
I agree.
What he's accomplished, I disagree with that. Everything he's accomplished, he did a lot more for pro wrestling than Sable did.
Goldberg.
He did a hell of a lot more for pro wrestling than Sable ever did.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what?
You know he's going to be a
Listen.
Hall of Famer because again, it goes back to it's a favorites game. You like Rod. You act like the Hall of Fame is real. It's not real.
Oh
How
my
come
God!
Dwayne
he's
Gill's
a
not in the
hater.
Hall of Fame? How come Dwayne Gill's not in the Hall of Fame?
Really? I mean, he
For the
might get
same
in one day.
reason.
He might get in one day, but yeah, I don't see this year or next year being that year.
Listen, Johnny Rodz is in the Hall of Fame. Buddy Rose is in the Hall of Fame. SD Jones is in the Hall of Fame. You know, this legacy wing opens the door for a lot of people. And I was telling Jay last week, I'm going to do a You Heard It Here First right now.
Oh, yeah, do it.
Cool.
On Friday night, when you are watching the Hall of Fame and the legacy wing comes
Which
up.
unfortunately I won't be able to watch until Saturday.
Okay, well, whenever you watch it, this guy will be, and now again, I haven't heard anything, direct or otherwise. This is just coming from me. I'm calling it Kamala will be a WWE Legacy Hall of Famer.
Absolutely, I agree with that. No, I agree with you. I can't even fight that. As it
It's
should be.
gotten to, but you know what? It's gotten to the point, guys, where honestly, who really cares anymore? The Hall of Fame shot the shit.
It's been shot to shit. I've been
But you
saying
know
that for
what?
years.
You only got 4 or 5 inductees this year, if you count Sid, plus the Warrior Award. So this isn't going to go as long as they used to.
No, this really
They've had
isn't.
like 7, 8 people. The year Lita went in, she was the first to come out. She went on for like 30 fucking minutes. They had to cut her off.
Oh
And
yeah,
said
that's not happening this year. They're gonna make sure.
No,
of
no,
that.
they're gonna let Undertaker have a ton of time because it's Undertaker.
without a doubt.
Undertaker's gonna get like an hour. He's gonna be sitting up there rambling for an hour.
You know what? It'll be interesting to see. Is he going to come out in character? Is he going to, is he going to make a long speech? It'll be interesting to see how they do it. But I think that's another reason why they only have 4 or 5 inductees. Because again, it's mainly going to be the Undertaker, and more people, and a lot of people are saying he should be the only inductee this year. Make the whole hour, 2 hours about him. You know what? We don't need that. Because they'll be showing highlight. Like a few years ago when DX went in, they were showing, they made it all about DX. And we saw highlights all night. How many times we have to see that overrated segment of them invading Nitro? How many times we got, it was awesome. I'm not saying it sucked, but how many times we got to see it? It's not fair.
Go on Peacock and rewatch it.
I guess so.
It's so bad.
What'd you say, bud?
No, I just said, like, you want to watch it, go on Peacock and watch it. Watch the whole Raw. It was a good Raw.
That's it. That's but again, you don't have to put her on the Hall of Fame ceremony. It's not fair to the other inductees. So as far as the Undertaker, I mean, listen, is there anybody in the wrestling world who doesn't think Undertaker belongs? Vader, here's the thing with Vader. Vader had a very disappointing WWF career. And a lot of people within WWF said it was his own fault. I thought it was bad booking. Okay.
I think it was a combination of things.
I think it was a combination of things too. But you know what? I got to say, Vader is one of my all-time favorite big men with, the greatest big men of all, 1 and 2. It's either Andre Undertaker or Undertaker Andre. I won't argue with.
Yeah, I agree. I agree with that.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Either one can be 1 or 2.
And number 3 is Vader. In my opinion.
Vader,
So,
I think what happened with Vader was
WWE didn't really know how to use him.
One, WWE didn't know how to use him. Also, they tried to push him to the moon against Shawn Michaels, but again, Shawn Michaels was so pilled up and fucked up at the time and such a politician that he made such a stink about working Vader, and that's what killed Vader to a point too, is that you made Vader look like shit compared to Shawn Michaels. Like, when you have a guy like Shawn Michaels wrestling Vader, and everything leading up to the big match was Shawn Michaels beating Vader. What do you think's going to happen?
Rod, calm down, Rod. Let Chuck finish his point. I will hear you because I can't hear either one of you. Go ahead, Chuck.
Thank you, moderator.
And I'm not even saying anything this time.
No, but I was saying, like
it's
again,
a miracle, Jay. I'm shocked you didn't say anything. Go ahead, Chuck.
But check this out. No, but like back in the day, like they had all the Raw build-ups, the live events, all that shit with Shawn Michaels and Vader. And when you see that Vader is losing on the live events and all the Raw stuff, by the time you get to SummerSlam, what the fuck do you think is going to happen?
Right.
You kill his credibility. They killed his credibility with that angle. They should have waited until somebody else had the title and then given Vader the push. It was the luster of the new toy, and once that wore off, it was like, okay, what do you do with them? Then they saddled them in crappy tag teams. Not that they were crappy, but like it was like guys that were there pushing, but it was like they only saw it as a tag team and not as like a big thing. He
deserved better. He deserved better is what you're saying.
Zuno was Vader versus Yokozuna. They tried to push.
But again, even that like was supposed to build up credibility for Vader, but at the same time, that did nothing for Vader either, because unfortunately, God rest his soul, Yokozuna was way too big and way too heavy at that point. The guy could barely move.
Right.
Yeah, and you bring up a good point. Hey, by the way, Rod, what were you going to say? You waited a little.
No, what I was going to say, if you wanted to see Vader at his absolute best, just go back and watch WCW his matches with Sting. That was the best Vader.
Those are great matches. Hell yeah. No, those are good matches.
Let me tell you something, guys. The White Castle of Fear, say what you will about the angle, okay? And about the scene and all that. But the match was really, really good. And listen, his work in WCW, his work in Japan.
Oh, dude.
Is hands down one of
Isn't he the reason that Mick Foley lost his ear?
I'm sorry?
He's the reason Mick Foley lost his ear.
Yeah.
He is.
You know, so he had a lot of you know, he had Vader is, in my opinion, one of the top 3 big guys of all time. He defied what a big guy could do. Here's a guy who's like what 400 pounds, and he's
450.
moving
Right.
I mean,
sometimes over the
pounds
top
doing
roll,
moonsaults.
moonsaults off the top.
Yep, and you see women nowadays. You see men and women doing the Vader bomb. I think it's somebody does like a stand, like a top rope Vader bomb. You're still seeing it and variants of it. And Vader, and very underrated on the stick, Vader. Okay, but going back to what going back to what you said about Shawn Michaels, Chuck. That was very unfortunate. You know, they restarted the match 3 fucking times. Okay, and if you watch it, Shawn was very, very not happy with what's his name with Vader. Kept yelling at him during the match. It was just a disappointing match. The feud with Yokozuna was disappointing. And you know what, Chuck? It wasn't just that Yokozuna was gaining weight. Two of the worst things WWF created ever did. 1, making Yokozuna a face. Number 2, making Vader a face. They killed both of them. Okay? Both guys, I don't think either guy ever should have been a face, in my opinion.
It doesn't make sense.
You know?
Yeah, Yokozuna, I've seen shoots at Yokozuna, and like he's a friendly, nice guy, so I get it. But like again, as a character, no, he's a big menacing guy. Like have him fuck people up. Like it was like when they turned Bam Bam Bigelow babyface. He should have never been babyface either.
Exactly. Well, you know what? When he was a babyface, the first time he came to the WWF in 87, 88, he was a face, and he was damn over. And then he ended up leaving, and that was a guy who.
And unfortunately for poor Bam Bam, his second time around, he got put with the Click, and you know how that goes. You can't get more over than the Click. You can't. They won't allow it. They wouldn't allow it.
And Vince let it happen. Right. The problem was that Vince let it happen.
Right.
Vince let it happen because those were his golden boys.
That's it. And we talked about Schaumel. The Steiners, listen, the Steiners, I don't know about Observer Hall of Fame, but you know what? You want to give the Steiners a moment in the sun, go right ahead, because they were a tremendous tag team who kept tag team.
Oh, in my opinion, they were the greatest tag team in the history of WCW, in my opinion. You can argue me with that if you want to. In my opinion, the greatest tag team in WCW history was the Steiner brothers.
They're in the discussion. I mean, I would have to either say Road Warriors or Harlem Heat, but Steiners, I won't argue with Steiners.
I can't argue that. They were definitely top 3 tag teams for WCW because they were good in WWF too. The problem with them in WWE was that it was so short-lived.
Yeah.
Well, it was short-lived because, when I saw Scott Steiner a few weeks ago, I asked him 2 questions. I asked him if the ECW run was meant to be short-lived. And he said, yes, it was done as a favor to somebody. We came in, we did our matches, and we left. It was not intended to be a long run. I said, now what about WWF? And he said, the first WWF run with the both of them, he said that was disappointing because it was, the company was neck deep in the steroid trial.
Yeah.
So no money was coming in. Nobody knew where the company was going from here. Okay, so there were a lot of unanswered questions, and I asked them, I said, who was the genius who decided to have you guys lose the titles, not only to the fucking Quebecers, but due to that Marquis of Queensberry, whatever the hell it was called, he even said it was stupid. Okay?
The Providence of Quebec rules match?
Quebec or something like,
The Quebec rules, whatever they were.
They lost by disqualification, and it was just so important. Now, to be fair, as much as I hated the Quebecers and as undeserving as I thought as they were of those titles, they were great tag team champions because they got you to hate their fucking guts and nobody could beat them.
Well, that was like, that's actually where they missed a golden opportunity with the Mountie as a singles for IC title. They should have let him run with that for at least a couple months because he would have gotten great heat with that title too, but that's another story for another day.
And listen, Jacques Rougeau, very underrated talent. And hey, you talk about a comeback. You talk about a miracle success story. Pierre, not only is he still around today.
Yeah.
PCO we're talking?
Yeah.
He's doing better than ever.
Yes, he is. And he's what? Is he in his 50s now?
He's in
Yeah,
his 50s. Yeah, he's in his early
like
50s. Yeah.
57, I think now.
And he has one eye, and it's just incredible. And it's real. I gotta say though, it's really unfortunate that he never. People got on Zach Gowen that he didn't get mainstream press. Now here's a guy with one leg being a wrestler. What about a guy with one eye being a wrestler?
Right.
That's very inspirational for people who are blind or
Right.
visually impaired or whatever.
Yeah,
But
he's blind in one eye. And the crazy thing is, except for the Jean-Pierre Lafitte gimmick, he almost never wore a patch.
That's true.
Except for Jean-Pierre Lafitte.
In WCW also?
When he was with the Quebecers, when it was basically
Team Canada.
Yeah, once they did the Jean-Pierre Lafitte, WWF and WCW always had him with the patch. But once that was all done, he got away from patch again.
Right. That's true. And I give him credit. He went in the first round of the Bro for All, went at it with Dr. Death, and he got fucking obliterated again. He only had one eye, but hey, he went out there. He's one tough motherfucker.
He was a tough guy. I would have fight with him.
Absolutely. So God bless CPO and Sid.
PCO, bro.
You guys talked about Sid, but I'll just say about Sid. You know what? He had the look most guys would kill for.
Oh wow. That's oh wow.
I can't wait to watch this. So you know what? The sooner we get to WrestleMania, the sooner Chuck and I can start our DVRs and watch this. So
Right.
Guys, anything else to say about the Hall of Fame?
No, actually, I do have one thing.
No,
I have one thing I do have to say, because we mentioned the Bella twins and we mentioned Vader. Did you guys hear what Nikki Bella tweeted about?
Chuck.
Did you guys hear what Nikki Bella said about Vader? And
she
had a real blonde moment.
Guys, I can't hear him. What is?
Check it out. So Nikki Bella said the funniest thing though in a blonde moment. She was excited for Vader and couldn't wait to hear his speech at the Hall of Fame, as if he didn't realize she passed away.
I can't hear.
Check this out. So shut the fuck up, guys. I got something to say.
Oh my God, Rod.
I see it. I know. That's what I said. That's why I said what I said.
It doesn't matter now, kid. No, I was gonna say what I was gonna say about Nikki Bella was apparently in an interview or like a Twitter tweet or something, she said she couldn't wait for Vader's speech because she was excited that he was in the Hall of Fame, not realizing he was dead. She had a blonde moment.
Oh my God.
Did you hear about that?
No, I did not hear about it, but it reminds me of Carmel at the red carpet ceremony a few years ago. Holy jeez.
Yeah, she said that.
You know who that reminds me of? When Ken Shamrock made that tweet challenging Brody Lee after Brody Lee had passed. You remember that a couple of years ago when Ken Shamrock made that tweet? He's like, "Yeah, me and Brody Lee should get in the ring sometime," not realizing Brody Lee had passed away.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
That was sad. You know what's crazy? Our second episode was our second or our third one where we had the tribute to Brody Lee.
Might have been the third one.
It was either the second or the third one. One of the first ones we did. Because it happened like as we were starting out. But I think it's time for the main event. WrestleMania.
It's time.
I have to say something real quick. Let's never record Wednesdays at 8 o'clock ever again.
I'm sorry, my computer was acting wonky. Forgive me.
I want to tell you guys something right now.
I know
I'll
what
watch
it is
it. Don't
too,
worry.
but I'm not
we'll
saying
discuss
nothing.
it. Don't worry.
I know.
All right, so do we have a breakdown on the night 1 and night 2 cards?
Yes, let me grab
Let's
night
talk
one.
about that because I think one night's better than the other.
Well, let me just ask you guys. Do you guys like that it's 2 nights? I do.
I do. I mean,
Yeah,
if it was up to Nick Khan, you have like one night, 12-hour WrestleMania. If it was up to him.
Well,
Right.
I think they're taking from, even though they'll say, that came from the whole, and the whole thing with the pandemic and no people there, but I really believe that they're just taking from Wrestle Kingdom.
I was gonna say that. That's exactly what it is. They're trying to cram as much stuff into a weekend that they can because they have so much to cover. I was actually watching WrestleMania 6 last night before I went to bed. I didn't watch the whole thing, but I watched parts of it. And I was thinking about it. And like the formula they had back then, like the first like I'm gonna say 8 to 10 WrestleManias was perfect because you had talent all over the card working Mania, and it wasn't about the who's who anymore. It was just about the current wrestlers who were working hard and were there every week and every night,
Right.
owning their craft. The
Was
first
Six
match of
Flair
WrestleMania
and
6,
Justice? I'm sorry, was Six Flair and Justice?
6 was Hogan Warrior.
Okay, so 7 was
Yeah.
okay.
No, Sid Justice and Hogan was 8.
8, yeah.
Flair and
Okay.
Macho was on that card too. That was Flair and Macho Man.
Yeah,
7 was
that's
some
what I'm
Slaughter
saying.
Hogan.
Flair and Justice were in, but they were in main events on the card. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, WrestleMania
Hogan,
8.
Justice, Flair, and Macho. Yeah, but
Yeah,
those
the,
were
the co-main event. Yeah. But my point was like I was watching. I'm like, this is what they should be doing with their modern talent. But what now is happening with WrestleMania is you have 2 nights, but you're cramming big names just to ploy ratings and trying to appeal to a casual audience. It doesn't.
Plus all the celebrity appearances, and now you gotta have celebrities in matches.
That's my
Well,
point.
stupid.
I agree with you, but here's the thing with that, and I agree. Listen, I think it's really sad. You got not 1, not 2, not 3, but 4 matches that feature celebrities or people that don't regularly wrestle. And these poor bastards who go out and do this for a living and rely on this to pay their bills, are off the show. Okay, but you got to remember, WrestleMania started had it not been for Mr. T and Cyndi Lauper.
Of course.
And
Sure.
the crowd that you talk about this, so God, thank God, there's no celebrity wing Hall of Fame this year. That thing has become such a joke. But
It was never not a joke.
I would
Plenty
say
of
this
jokes
about
in the
celebrities. I
celebrity
will say this about celebrities. Last year, Bad Bunny set a high standard last year with his performance at WrestleMania.
Bad Bunny
He set a high standard.
But again, you can't expect
There's a real life villain in the Hall of Fame, in the celebrity wing of Hall of Fame, and that's as far as I'm going with that.
What'd you say?
I know who you're talking about, so we won't go there, but I know who you're talking about.
We're not going to go there.
We don't need riots being caused because of that.
Nope.
No riots. But here's my take on wrestling, because I'm a hater, Rod. Would you agree that I'm a hater?
Oh, yes.
So this is how much I'm hating on WrestleMania this year. I'm playing a gig with my band over watching WrestleMania on Saturday. I'm actually playing a show and not watching it in real time. And that's like the first time I've done this in like years.
Hey, listen, man.
Becky versus Bianca too. I guess in a way we deserve that match.
That's gonna be night 1. That's on night 1.
What, Bianca?
This is what confuses
But
me.
let me just, guys.
Why do you have to work? Oh, go ahead.
No, let me just say something about the card before we get into the matches. Like I said, I think the matches, the card's okay. Okay, it doesn't get me. There's some matches I'm very excited about, and some I'm like, okay, this is the bathroom match or whatever. But you know what, Chuck? You talk about WrestleMania 6 in that era. You know what I miss about WrestleMania? The intermission. That was a time you would be able to go to the bathroom, go to the kitchen, do whatever you want to, have a smoke, do whatever you want to do, okay, and not miss any time. I miss the intermissions, and it not only that,
toilet bowls in the seats.
Well, that's unfortunate because I actually think Texas State Cowboy Stadium would sell more seats for WrestleMania if they did have more toilets. Because Dave, let me tell you something, guys. Last I checked, neither night is close to being sold out. I mean, Dallas Cowboy Stadium's humongous,
Right.
Okay, but neither night is close to. And they've done a study. Texas has kind of weakened with wrestling. Texas, when you think of wrestling hotbeds, you think of Texas, no question.
Yeah.
But Texas has not made the business that it's historic for making the past few years. And don't get me wrong, I think it'll be fine. I think there'll be plenty of people in attendance, but this is very far from selling out. And it has to make you wonder, is there going to be, and Rod, you said this in the beginning of the show, Rod, SmackDown is going to be we got to talk about SmackDown and even Raw Monday night because, and we'll talk about in conjunction with each match to make things go faster.
That's fine. Yeah, I would agree with that. I can go with that. To
make things go faster. And we'll talk about the matches. But again, it's I love that it's 2 nights. When it was like 8 hours, I was falling asleep. It was too much.
Are you talking about WrestleMania 35?
I'm talking about every WrestleMania from what, 30 to 35, something like that. It was like 6, 7, 8 hours a year. That's too long. You make it 2 nights, 3 hours a night. The last 2 years, I'm done with WrestleMania. I'm like, wow, it's only 10 o'clock at night. I got the rest of the night. I feel a lot better.
Well, I do want to chime in real quick and say something.
Sure.
I hate how 36 gets the hate to get. You gotta realize something about 36. It was the beginning of the pandemic. No one knew what the hell was going on. So you can't say, "Oh, 36 was a horrible WrestleMania." No one,
I didn't hate WrestleMania 36. I actually didn't hate WrestleMania 36.
There was some good matches in that one.
They did what they could because all things considered.
It was an underwhelming. It was an underwhelming WrestleMania, but it was due to circumstances. The card itself was good. It was underwhelming because of the circumstance.
Yes, I agree. I give him a pass on 36.
And here's the other thing that I noticed with WrestleMania 36. Because of all that, they definitely skipped out on some production, and that's fine because you didn't need it because you didn't have the whole thing there. You didn't need it. It was a lot of money to be saved. You didn't know what to do.
I give him a pass because I was just happy to have wrestling.
Right.
Me too.
I mean, listen, they did the best.
It was weird though.
Very
weird.
These were unprecedented circumstances. Okay, they did the best they could.
No one could have prepared for that.
I love that it's 2 nights, and the card. Again, it could use work, but again, here's the problem. Here's the main problem, guys, and we haven't talked about this. The problem with WrestleMania, there's so much fucking wrestling on TV. There's hard.
God, that Friday alone.
It's hard to make WrestleMania stand out because there's so much wrestling on TV. And you know what bothers me, guys? The Raw after WrestleMania used to be exciting because that would basically be the unofficial beginning of the new season of WWE and WWF. Okay, WrestleMania was the climax, the ending of feuds.
Yes, the Super Bowl of wrestling, the World Series of wrestling.
And now WrestleMania is just a continuation. Feuds continue after WrestleMania. And here's the thing: AJ Styles, first time ever, sounds like a great match on paper. How much do you want to bet they're going to go at it as early as Monday night on Raw, or at least the next pay-per-view? It's the same shit over and over.
And they're going to have the rematch. Over. Yeah. What's the pay-per-view after WrestleMania? They're going to
I believe it's either going to be Backlash or Money in the Bank.
They're going to do a rematch after that?
They're going to wrestle. They're going to up the stakes at Backlash for the WrestleMania match. That's what they're going to do.
You got to remember what's Backlash.
Aren't they doing WrestleMania Backlash now?
Well, that was last year. I'm not sure they're doing that again this year, but that was last year.
I was trying to say, what do they call Backlash now? They don't call it Backlash. They call it WrestleMania Backlash.
Right, and they're going to make you believe it's a WrestleMania Part 2. It's stupid.
They're ridiculous. I don't know what they're thinking.
For Part 1 and Part 2.
Here's the problem with WWE, with WrestleMania especially, is that we live in the era of nostalgia, and that's cool to a point, but like you're killing your product by focalizing the nostalgia over what you have, and that's what kills it too. It's forever a nostalgia kick now, and that's why you get all the guys who wrestle part-time coming out of the woodworks and wrestling. Rod loves that Brock Lesnar is the champion right now.
They'll keep
I want to piss Brian off real quick.
Piss Brian off. Go for it. Have fun.
Hey, Rod.
What up?
You think we're going to start seeing Vince McMahon pissed off memes?
Oh, we probably will, especially after what
That's all I want to ask. I'm not going to give anything away.
All right.
But I will say this, though. Whoever wins this...
Now I'm done.
I want to say this, though. Whoever wins the title unification match, those titles are not staying unified long. It's going to be like Becky in 2019. by the next pay-per-view, whoever wins that match is losing one of those 2 titles.
But you
Those
know
belts
what?
are not gonna
There's
stay
only
unified
one
long.
way for this to go. If you don't want, if WWE does not want people like, asking for their money back, the only way to go is have Bianca win WrestleMania 2 years in a row.
Of course. But also, my thing is this though, like, in my opinion, Roman is winning. Because there's no way.
No, Roman,
I am saying this right now. If Brock Lesnar would not work a full schedule when there was no pandemic, if you think he's going to start working one now with a pandemic, you lost your damn mind. You lost your mind. And the WWE, no way how the WWE is going to have both their titles off TV for weeks and months at a time. They're not going to do
Unless
that.
they drop it to someone else. I mean, this would make like what? The Roman Reigns, if Roman Reigns wins this, he's going to have like the longest title reign in history at this point, right?
Well, he's already the longest reigning.
Well, he's number 4. He's number 4 on the list. I mean, that's the main event of night 2, and it should be. And thank God they're going to unify the titles. And
makes sense.
Last, because that's hands down the biggest match. I believe the main event of night 1 is going to be the KO show, so we'll save that.
Yes.
Ew!
That's ending the
That's
show.
gonna be the
But if you
main
want, hold on. That's ending the show. But the official main event of night 1 is gonna be Ronda versus Charlotte for the SmackDown Women's title.
Okay, let's talk about that right there. Kevin Owens and Stone Cold. Kevin Owens going to take a cheap shot. Stone Cold Steve Austin's going to stun him. Okay, WrestleMania's over. Night 1's over.
Or they might brawl all over freaking the arena.
He can't do that anymore. He's so like beaten up.
I mean, it's not a match. You could brawl. I mean, it's not like you have to be like pulling on a technical masterpiece. No one is expecting a
Dude, this is
technical masterpiece
WWE and
from this.
WrestleMania. I will be shocked if they do more than just a stunner.
I won't. It's all he needs.
I think it's gonna be a.
It doesn't need to be the last segment. It could be towards the end of the night, but it can't be the last segment if it's going to be just that.
Shouldn't be.
I agree. They should end it with. It should be ended with a match.
You know it's going to be Ronda and Charlotte because again.
They already said it's gonna be Ronda Charlotte.
But again, it should be. Look, hate on Ronda all you want.
Oh, I know. I hope she's gonna give me some good points.
I hate on both of them, to be honest with you.
Here's my thing. Here's my take. Hate on Ronda because people hate on Ronda. I do sometimes to a point, but my point is that she's a big name.
Lose either way.
It can be, yeah. Not for you because you're Mr. Oh, my fantasy Ronda Rousey.
Yeah.
That's all right. It's all right, Rod. You're gonna have a great week, and then you're gonna lose me next week anyway. So it's
okay. That's if you make
it. It's a lose-lose because everyone's sick of Charlotte, and
I like Charlotte.
I don't know. I wasn't upset when Ronda Rousey wasn't around for over a year.
I'm gonna be real. Like I'm at a point with I like Charlotte. I don't hate Ronda. Like I'm kind of indifferent about Ronda. Ronda Rousey's Ronda Rousey. As a UFC fighter, I appreciate her, but for the hype of that, I'm like, this is dumb. But again, at the same time, is anybody really surprised that Ronda came back and won the Rumble? Is anybody really going to be surprised when she beat Charlotte for the title at Mania? No, we already know it's.
Here's a question. Does anybody think Charlotte is going to win?
No.
Which
I don't either.
Me and she might. They might do that just to be
I seriously doubt that.
If they do, it's actually if they're gonna go, they're at a point where they've dug themselves in so much that
I would pretty much put money on the fact the 3 women's title matches. There's gonna be new champions for all 3 women's titles matches.
You think? I think Becky Lynch is retaining.
Nah, I think Bianca's winning.
No, they love Becky Lynch.
Bianca too though. They love Bianca too. Bianca won them on SB.
Again, if you don't want the WWE fans or the universe to riot and cause a stink, cause like a whole fiasco, you have Bianca win because people are probably tired of seeing Becky with the title at this point.
It's old. Like when she first won the belt, she had her first run before she got pregnant. she was over. But again, it got old then. And then when she came back, they did the right thing. They made her a heel. It was smart.
And this is kind of
Yes.
like the revenge because of how she lost the title in the first place, Bianca Belair. So this is, I guess,
Yeah.
this is the right way to do it because it's a story.
Yeah.
And WWE doesn't
exactly.
always stick to the damn story.
If they stick, I will agree. If they stick to that story and she wins, I'll agree. WWE did something right. Good on Bianca. I'll agree with that.
This, another thing that like I'm not understanding about WWE is like why did he decide now all of a sudden the last couple of years to take Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal of WrestleMania?
Why is it
There's
not?
no reason for that, to be honest, because I feel like everyone who won it didn't really do much with.
It ran its course. Listen, I love Andre, but unfortunately, the Battle Royal, and thank God it doesn't look like they're doing the women's Battle Royal, at least not yet.
The way it's looking right now, it's like Carmella's probably gonna be the last winner of that.
Right, and I hope
There's
so.
no
because-
reason to do that at Mania, no.
Well, I feel like that's another. I feel like it started out as like a crutch to push the next guy, but it never did. But they do it with a lot of shit. Total Divas. That's all it was. The Divas search, whatever it was, the Diva search, or like Tough Enough, or even the NXT. It was supposed actually NXT was a little bit different. Like those all those like external shits and like that. I feel like they're all meant to be platforms to elevate people, and they never do.
You crown a champion in an
Like the
era
people who
where there are
don't
no
win,
fans.
It's
Wait,
just
let
like
me
the
just
best
say this.
superstars come from
Let me
that
just say
are the
this.
ones who don't win.
Let me just say this. You crown a champion in the era there's no fans, a match that would have been amazing with fans, then you shit on him the following year, and now you put him in a match against Happy Corbin? Holy shit.
And the funny thing is, if you ask WWE, he's the top babyface on SmackDown.
He is.
Without a title.
Without a title and with no real story, without any real push.
I just, guys, before we get to McIntyre Corbin, I just want to put a bow on the women's matches because these are big matches.
I
Okay,
agree.
of the Saturday night shows, both nights are on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised if one starts and one ends it. Okay, now we all agree, for the record, we all agree, and I'm going to take some notes here. We're all picking Rousey to win, correct?
Oh yeah, no,
Yes.
no question.
Okay. We all pick Rousey to win. Now, the other match.
I go with Bianca.
Oh, Chuck,
For which match?
with
Becky Bianca.
Becky Bianca should win that.
Okay, Jay.
Bianca, that's the right way to go.
Because his like the two women's singles matches are Saturday, the women's tag match is Sunday.
Right. So I'm gonna go against the grain here. I'm gonna say Becky. Number one, because I just think she's on a roll. She's been, say what you will about her. I know she's been a champ for a while, and I didn't like how she won the title at SummerSlam. Here's Bianca, who you invested all this into, all this hoopla into, and she goes down in seconds to a woman who hadn't wrestled in months and just had a baby. You made her look bad. Now
I agree. That was horrible. Whoever thought that was a good booking decision should have been fired on the spot.
I bet you it was, so yeah, let's fire Vince.
I wish they could. But makes I gotta say though, if there's one thing I really have to give credit to WWE for, it's that you've seen something in WrestleMania that you haven't seen much in the past few years that shows desperately needed, and that's build-up. Now, the build-up hasn't been great, but it's been better than what we've been seeing for a while. And I like the build-up in this match. They've made it. You know what? After what happened Monday night when Bianca cuts Becky's hair, it'll be interesting to see how they, style her hair and make it look. But also, I just hope they incorporate this and make this into a real personal battle between the two.
Which I think it will be.
I think this could be a very good match. You know what? On one hand, I see why you guys are saying Bianca, but after what happened Monday night, Becky does whatever it takes to win. But one thing I got to give Becky credit for, she's kind of taken the Chris Jericho approach in reinvention. First, she was the last kicker. Then she was the man. Now she's big time Bex. She's
Okay.
finding different ways to get over and to stay current and stay fresh. And you got to appreciate that about a wrestler, no matter what you think of them personally.
That's why I'm always a fan of Cody Rhodes. You know, everybody hates on Cody Rhodes. Like I've always liked Cody Rhodes for that reason.
Absolutely. You know what? That's a good segue, Chuck. I believe that, yes, that match is going. You know what? We'll save that for among the last, because that's
I gotta go soon, so.
All right, we got to start. We got to start.
What?
We got to start getting this going. What else we got?
Well, let me just say one thing here to kind of speed things up. Bad Bunny surprised the hell out of me in WrestleMania.
Oh yeah, because you was hating
year.
on him big time last year.
And
there's no
I did. I
celebrities.
hated on him until he showed me what he could do. But guess what? Johnny Knoxville and stupid
Logan Paul.
idiot, whatever, Logan Paul.
I don't see them having a performance like that. I can tell you that right now.
No.
And that's as much as I want to say about that. Sami Zayn's going to carry that match, and the Mysterio mullet boy and Rey Mysterio and the Miz are going to carry that match.
Well, let's talk about that tag match.
I don't really want to,
but we got to.
Yeah.
We'll touch on it. I agree with you, Jay. The mullet is this unwanted fad that's starting in wrestling. Dom looks terrible in it. What's his name? Dash Wheeler?
Dash Wheeler has it. It's like this new style mullet. It looks terrible.
It looks terrible. I agree 100%. Yeah, but here's the thing with that match. You know what? Again, this seems to be one of those WrestleManias where they're trying to get everybody on the card. Okay. I don't know. I agree with you, Jay, that the Miz and Mysterio are going to carry that match.
Yeah.
Listen, I give
that will. I mean, because let's face facts. Last year, Priest was hurt, and Bad Bunny carried the majority of the workload in that match, and he did a fantastic job.
He did a lot of work
this year
in that match too, and you know what? He proved me wrong.
But listen, Bad Bunny is one of the few examples. This is a lifelong, full-fledged, true wrestling fan.
Yeah, but he went down there and put in the work.
He took it seriously. He went to the gym. Ric Flair loves him. Everybody loves him.
Taker loves him.
He looked great. I agree. He looked great. I don't know about match of the night, but he looked great. And even in the Rumble, he looked good. He's taking it seriously. I give him a lot of credit. Are we going to get that from the guys this year?
Probably not. I mean, I'd be stunned.
So let me ask you guys, the Mysterios versus Miz.
I'm going with the Mysterios.
Jay?
I don't give a damn.
Okay, Chuck?
Probably the Mysterios, but I would like to see actually the Miz and Logan Paul somehow win it.
Right.
But I'm gonna go a little dark horses. You know what I could see happening? Highly unlikely, but what I would love to see happen. They've been trying to plant this seed for like a year now of Mysterio and Dominic.
I know where you're going with this, and Dominic already said
they
turned that idea down already.
Like
Dominic already said they turned that idea down already. So before you go there, he said in a recent interview they were planning that, but either Vince or somebody turned that idea down. So the Mysterios
That's
gonna be
a shame because it would have been a great finish, and it would have been a great way to.
I agree.
So I knew where you was going with that. That's why I cut in.
Maybe it could still happen.
It could still happen. You never know.
Maybe
Maybe
but as of right now, it's not happening.
I still think with time, Dominic needs to turn heel.
How do you know that's not a smoke screen for fans that are doing exactly what you're doing? To kind of shut the idea out. So when it happens, you're going to be like, oh, I guess that did happen.
That's true. No, I would like to see. I'm sure Mysterios will probably win it because whatever, but it's one of those, like, they're one of those teams that, like, because they're super babyface, like, you got to have them win because it keeps the crowd happy kind of thing. I feel like they're like the crowd pleaser wrestlers. Like, you have them win because it keeps the fans happy. It keeps the kids happy, and that's why they have that match. That's probably why they're going to win. But I think if you wanted to keep it interesting, Miz and Logan Paul should win that match.
Honestly, man, they
find a way to cost the Mysterios the match.
Miz and Mysterio should have been saved for WrestleMania. The match that, whenever they had, I think they had it in another pay-per-view or something.
Miz and Mysterio on its own would have been a good match.
Yeah, wasn't that
It was
day
an
one?
opening, yeah, it was like an opening pre-show match.
Yeah, it was
that-
day one, wasn't it?
But the Miz
That
versus
was,
Mysterio on its own would have been a better match.
No, that was Royal Rumble or I think.
No,
or
Royal
what-
Rumble was Miz and Maurice against Edge and Beth Phoenix.
Oh, so it was the
Day one.
Saudi Arabia match.
Yeah.
Anyway, my
But
point
whatever.
is,
Moving
that
on.
would have been, that sounds so much better as a WrestleMania match by
Yeah.
itself. No tag team partners.
I agree. No, that I agree with.
That
But
would have,
here's-
that was a mistake.
Here's the thing. This match is tough to call because on one hand, and you know what's interesting about this match? I talk about the buildup. Monday night's buildup to this match was very interesting. First of all, last week you had the Miz ripping the mask off. Let's talk about that for just a second. I am really getting tired of this. You're seeing this more than ever, guys ripping masks off. That is extremely disrespectful.
Especially Rey Mysterio, though. It's been done to him a million times at this
It
point.
doesn't matter. My point is,
I'll say this too. Every time that's happened to Ray, he's always wins. Just pointing it out there.
well, that's true. But the thing is, what my point is, granted, it's a good way to get a monster heel over. I understand that. But again, enough with the piss takes on wrestling history. I don't know why Vince just hates wrestling history so much, but it happens
Because
all
it's
the
cutting
time.
edge and cool.
Because if it's not his history, he don't like it.
Yeah.
Right. Right. Well, exactly.
Done too.
Exactly. I mean, but I'm gonna go and normally with celebrities, it used to be the celebrities would win their matches. With a heel, I don't know, but here's the other thing they did. Okay, so the Mysterios, they have Ray against Miz. Ray goes over because of all sorts of. They get Dominic kicked out of the match. Ray goes over because of all sorts of interference. Then they take the mask off. Ray gets the mask back. But the thing was, they beat the hell out of the Miz, and Logan did nothing. So is Logan going to turn on Miz? Are they going to lose? Miz is going to blame Logan Paul. Paul knocks him out. That's what I think is going to happen.
Probably.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
you
too.
know what? I could see that.
Boring, JJ, boring, predictable, but I think that's what's going to happen. Go ahead, Jay.
Probably.
Okay. We'll go on. Did you want to say something, Jay, before we move on to the next match?
I kind of wanted to finish at 10 and wow. Okay. Yeah, I don't care about that match, to be honest. I'm gonna go to the bathroom during that match.
Rod's
Because
pitch break
what
match.
I wanted should have been Mysterio versus Miz at WrestleMania and not prior to. That's
I
what I
agree.
want to see. And that's all I have to say about that. I don't
All right,
care.
let's-
Move on.
Most of these are Zoom are matches we could do quickly for Saturday. We kind of touched on this. Drew McIntyre, Happy Corbin, Rob.
McIntyre's winning.
Yeah,
care.
Drew's definitely winning.
But
In
I'm
my
sorry.
opinion, there's gonna be 2 undefeated streaks ended at WrestleMania this year.
Okay, so Chuck and Rod say Drew.
Saying
Drew.
Drew.
Yeah, Drew. Unless they do something where Corbin wins because he's lucky. I don't know. I don't care. Next. I'm pissed
Oh
off.
my God, that's degenerate, man.
I'm gonna call this my easiest pick of the night, and I'm gonna say Drew wins. And I didn't get, however, that they did that handicap match on Raw. Why just save the whole thing for WrestleMania? But again, he buries Madcap Moss, who's a legit tough guy, who I think deserves a real honest to God chance, and he hasn't gotten shit other than Raw Underground, if you want to even call that a chance.
And
Authentic
that
wasn't.
24/7 title run he had.
Yeah.
They stole the goddamn sword again. Okay, so but I'm saying, so we all say Drew McIntyre. I call it the easiest pick of the night.
Probably.
Next up, we have we got 2 tag matches and then the Seth match. We'll do the the SmackDown to the Usos against Shinsuke and Rick Boogs.
I think Boogs
That
and
is
Nakamura.
All right,
that
guys. Okay,
asshole.
guys. I can't hear anybody. Rod, go ahead.
I think Nakamura and Boogs are gonna take it.
Guys, I don't mean to sound like a school, but I can't hear you guys when everybody's talking at the same time. So, Rod, go ahead.
I think my pick is Nakamura. I think Nakamura and Boogs are gonna take it.
Jay, yeah, you call me number one, Jay. You're number two. Go ahead,
I'm
Jay.
not doing that to you. I'm doing that to his prediction.
Oh my god.
Well, what's your prediction, Jay?
I don't want them to win. I don't think
Me neither.
Boogs is. It makes me want to give them the finger because I can't stand that guy. He can't play guitar.
God.
Can't wrestle out of a cardboard box. He sucks. I don't like him.
I don't see the Usos dropping.
Yeah.
So,
So this
for the,
is
for the
not
rec-
to you, Brian. This is to anyone wanting Boog to win the
Oh my
match.
god, such a degenerate.
So, okay, for the record, Rod and Jay, like Rod and Chuck, like the Uso, excuse me. Chuck and Jay like the Usos. Rod like Shinsuke and Rick.
Yes.
Sounds about right.
I
Okay.
would rather someone else beat the Usos. I don't want Boogalooga, Boogs, whatever his
Oh my
name
god,
is.
you are such a degenerate, I swear.
I don't know his name. Boogs.
Rick
Boogs.
Biba Diba. Whatever the hell his name is. I don't want that idiot to win.
Oh boy.
Here's what and you're gonna like Jay. I suggest you let me talk because I'm about to defend you.
Okay.
And that all of a sudden, yeah, go ahead, Brian. But I have to, Rod, I have to agree with Chuck and Jay. I like the Usos here because we didn't talk about this. The Usos win, it kind of gives more momentum into the Roman Reigns match. That
Right.
the blood will stick. Because imagine
Exactly.
the Usos have their titles and Roman doesn't. So that's number one. But also, Chuck, what you hinted at before with the Mysterios, Dom turning on Ray and starting a feud. I think Boogs finally turns on Nakamura. I agree with you, Jay. Boogs, I'm just not getting it. It's a man mountain rock for this generation, and it just doesn't friggin' work. Shinsuke Nakamura
Deserves better.
My first show with you guys, I asked who's the most misused wrestler in WWE.
Yep.
My vote was Shinsuke Nakamura.
And I agreed.
It's not close. This is a legend in Japan. They
Yep.
have ever since he lost at WrestleMania to AJ Styles. It's been downhill from there. The heel run I did not like. He's a baby face. Okay. At least in this part of the country, in this part of the world, should I say?
Yes, here he's a face. In Japan, he's a heel.
Right, exactly. Here, he's a baby face, no question. Horrifically used. Okay, and it's been rough. So I think, and I wouldn't be surprised if this is a pre-show match. So anything to add before we go to the other tag match of the show?
I got
No,
no.
I want to move
I'm
on.
good.
Okay.
Okay.
Next we have the New Day against Sheamus and Ridge Holland for the tag titles. Chuck, I'll let you go first.
They're not for the titles. It's just a match.
Yeah.
There's no title
Oh,
involved.
excuse me, I'm
I
sorry.
mean, there should be no reason why New Day should not win this match. After what happened, New Day should not. There should be no reason why New Day doesn't win this match. No reason.
I think-
Chuck, who do you like?
I think Sheamus and Ridge are gonna win just because Butch is gonna be the reason. Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne's gonna be the deciding factor.
Thank you, Chuck. I think. Go ahead, Jake. Give your take, and then we'll get to my pick and the whole Pete Dunne.
I agree with Chuck. It's because of Pete Dunne. I'm not going to call him Butch. Pete Dunne.
I agree.
Unless he gets ejected.
Okay.
My take on this match, guys, is why the hell do we even have it? I think this match shouldn't even be on. maybe a pre-show match. I think they should take this match out and use the time to add to other matches.
Well,
Listen,
you
guys,
can understand why. You can
Guys.
understand why this match happened after what happened a few weeks ago.
Actually, I know what's going to happen. Because like the New Day, there's only two guys and Big E is not there. And, you know, you have Butch, and then out of nowhere, wearing his Jets mask and cape, Mr. Main Event's going to save the day.
Oh my God, such a damn degenerate. You are truly a degenerate, I swear.
There you go. So we got so let me just get my take on this match. I mean, again, I think it should be cut. I don't care about this match. I think it's the battle of, on one hand, you got, you know, Big E, Xavier, his first, you know, pay-per-view match back, you know, fighting for Big E, Big E's honor. On the other hand, you got two really good, tough guys who could do the tough brawling style really well.
And they're Irish.
And they're being used horribly. Okay, Pete, I thought Gunther was horrific. Butch makes Gunther look like Macho Man Randy Savage. Okay,
at least Butch didn't get named after a racist.
I'm sorry.
At least Butch wasn't named after a racist.
Well, that's true. That's true. But I mean, it's just just bad. So what was I going to say? I'm going to say, Butch will be the deciding factor. You know, heels have to win here and there. I'm going with Sheamus and Ridge Holland, but at the end of the day, really, who gives a shit? And
pretty much, it's the throwaway match for the whole card.
Absolutely. And listen,
it's the throwaway match.
If you ever needed one word to describe just how bad the book WWE creative is right now, you just need one word: Butch. And not only that, they changed his name, but they make him look like something out of Newsies. Okay.
Yeah,
but,
true.
So now the last match is Seth Rollins against a mystery guy. Now, who do you
flying about this?
Is going to be the mystery opponent?
There are three choices. Shall I? I want to start.
Take it.
Go ahead, Jay. You got it.
You don't name one of them.
Well, I mean, everyone's been thinking it's been Cody. You know, that would be great. But as long as WWE uses him the right way. And another name that was floating around is a guy who apparently has been cleared, Mr. Corey Graves. But we haven't seen like Corey and Seth go at it, so that might not even be true. And I was just told today by a buddy of mine that he heard in the rumor mill it's going to be the guy who ruined the Royal Rumble match, Shane McMahon. I do not want that to happen because, I mean, come on, we always see that with Shane, and I don't think Seth and Shane is going to be a great match. I think if you put Cody Rhodes and Seth Rollins in the ring,
that would be a good match.
Right.
Right.
Okay, what we'll do. Who do you guys think? I mean, can we all agree that whoever the mystery guy is, he's the one that's going to win?
Probably, yes.
Probably.
I agree with that.
Okay.
But I will say this, though. I'm surprised no one said the other rumored possibly person who's going to be the mystery opponent.
Oh, yeah, I was right.
The Undertaker?
Yep.
He can't.
Well,
I could see it. I mean, they are Texas gets inducted into the Hall of Fame. Why not have like one last WrestleMania hurrah?
And they're in Texas. So.
I was wrong.
Okay.
I was wrong. That prediction I made about the New Day, yeah, that's not going to happen. The mystery opponent is going to be
Jesus
Mr.
Christ,
Main
here we go.
Event.
Such a damn degenerate, I swear.
Hey, Mr. Main Event is poised to come and debut at some point.
Oh my God.
Listen, there's a lot to unpack with this match, and I'll try to do it quick. As far as what you said, Chuck, how it's in Texas, you know, when you think of Texas wrestling, you don't think of The Undertaker.
No.
That's big. Yeah. But you think of Dusty Rhodes, you think of the Funks, the Von Erichs, the Stan Hansons, the Dick Murdochs. You even think of Steve Austin and Shawn Michaels. Okay,
Yeah.
hence the KO show with Steve Austin. Okay, that crowd's gonna go nuts. Okay, the thing is, when you think so, the fact that it's in Texas, that's good for the Undertaker and his family. But when you think of Texas wrestlers, you don't think of him.
No,
But
I agree. I agree with that. I was just saying, I was stirring the pot.
You know what? Here's the thing. I understand the word retirement doesn't really exist in wrestling. You know what? I really like when wrestlers can take a bow, say thank you, and leave gracefully. Shawn Michaels did that WrestleMania 26 years ago, and he fucked it up in Saudi Arabia. He even admits he'll be the first to tell you that was embarrassing. Okay,
Terrible match. That match was garbage.
I agree with it, to say the least.
Crap.
Now, the Undertaker's last match 2 years ago in that whatever the hell it was called, okay, the last ride match,
the Boneyard match.
The Boneyard match, okay. Granted, it wasn't really a match, okay, and granted, it wasn't in front of thousands of people, but you know what? They made the best with what they had. Listen, there were a lot. I know at least 3 couples that didn't have the wedding of their dreams because of COVID. They got married civilly or married in a church by themselves, never had a reception. People never had, we were going to have an anniversary, my in-laws 60th. We could, that's just how it was. Okay. Yeah. The Undertaker had a graceful, I understand, Survivor Series, there were no fans in the audience. I understand it wasn't the same, but you know what? I thought it was emotional. I thought it was powerful. And you know what? And let's be honest, guys, in my opinion, the Undertaker has looked ancient since the Hell in a Cell against Triple H at WrestleMania 28. And that was 10 years ago.
You said that to me on the phone, yeah.
I love the Undertaker. He's one of my all-time favorite wrestlers.
Mine too.
It's over.
It's over.
Done.
Exactly.
It's done. It sucks seeing the guys.
I mean, hell, look at Mae Young. You saw how long she was around for.
But it was a joke after a while, though.
Mae Young, you saw how long she was around for. So
it was a joke at the end.
Rod, you're comparing apples to mashed potatoes with that. I mean, but the Undertaker, come out during the Hall of Fame ceremony and let that be it. Okay. As far as, I don't want to. Now, Seth Rollins, let's talk about Seth for a second here. All the guys that have been mentioned, another guy that was mentioned was Omos, but that's obviously not happening.
Yeah.
Now, I think Seth Rollins, if there's anybody that can get a good match out of Omos or Corey Graves making his first match back, it's Seth Rollins. Okay. Yeah. He seems to be the new guy. When he's not getting people hurt, he's getting a good match out of just about anybody.
He puts on some of the best matches in WWE currently.
I agree. When he's not getting people hurt, which he's gotten better with that, thank God. Okay. Yeah. But here's the thing. Okay. Corey Graves, I think that would be at best, a lukewarm reception. I think Omos would be a very lukewarm reception. Undertaker might get a good reaction, but again, even against Seth, I don't know what Undertaker can do anymore. So that leaves Cody Rhodes. Now, if Cody Rhodes comes out. Now, Chuck, as you would say, I'm not expecting this to happen, but I really like Cody comes out, cuts a killer promo because you know what? This can go down. Now, listen, Cody's not known as a promo guy, but make a promo trashing AEW because this is the first time that a wrestler has left AEW. That guys have been leaving WWE. Well, most of them got fired and went to AEW, but some left AEW for WWE for AEW. This guy is the other way around. And this is
I have to cut you off. He's not the first guy to leave AEW for WWE.
Well, okay, we don't have to be exact. You know what I mean.
Big name. He means big name. I got it.
Yeah, thank you. So
maybe the big name.
Well, who was the first, Jake?
Nathan, whatchamacallit.
Nathan Frazier. I forget what his name was in AEW, but he didn't really appear on TV.
Ben Carter.
Yeah, Ben Carter.
All right. So like I said, this is like the big name that's going. And like I
There you
said
go.
last time, when we did the show on New Year's Day, okay, Kevin Owens signing with WWE, that was a big signing because everybody
Yeah.
was expecting him to go to AEW and reform Mount Rushmore and all that. And it brings up the question. Why did, and after that, Sami Zayn re-signed, AJ Styles re-signed, now Cody Rhodes is coming back. Are they giving them money? Are they giving them years? Because more years, more security. Or do these guys know something we don't? Okay.
It could be all of the above.
I'm sorry. Maybe it could be a
All of
combination
everything.
of any or all of them. 100%. So, I think Cody shouldn't just take the ring. Cody needs to reintroduce and readjust himself to the WWE audience, make a killer promo, and then go in the ring and have the match. But I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't be upset just to cut time. They didn't have a match; they just brawled. That way, that's something you can carry on to future pay-per-view and shows.
Yeah.
So before we go on tonight, anybody have anything to say about this match of night one?
I'm hoping it's Cody. As if it is Shane.
Honestly, guys, I do have to get going.
All right, so let's move on. Let's get night two out the way.
All right.
Well, do you want to meet up tomorrow night or whatever for night two, or
I can't tomorrow.
Yeah, tomorrow either.
Okay, so
We'll do a quick. We'll put a pin in that. We'll keep it.
Here we go.
moving.
Round robin here. Here we go. Fatal four-way for the women's tag. We got Queen Zelina and Carmella, Sasha Banks and Naomi, Rhea Ripley and Liv Morgan, Natalya and Shayna Baszler. The short answer is all these women deserve better. This is a sin. This is an absolute waste. This is going to be a gigantic clusterfuck. But who's going to win the clusterfuck?
Okay, go ahead. That's fine.
No, Rod, we'll start with you. I love your enthusiasm. Go ahead, Rod. Mr. Enthusiasm.
Easy. Naomi and Sasha Banks are winners. This is gonna be Sasha Banks' first WrestleMania win right here. Naomi and Sasha Banks are winners.
Interesting point. Go ahead, Jake.
I second it. I think that's going to happen too because those two women need a WrestleMania win. Chuck?
I agree with both of you, but part of me still wants Queen Zelina and Carmella to retain because I'm still loving their run right now.
And all of me is saying the Queen and Carmella. I think that's the only logical choice. I think putting it on any of the other teams is a waste of both wrestlers.
Except for Naomi and Sasha Banks, who actually seem like they have potential as a team. The rest of it seems too makeshift for me.
I agree 1,000%. This is a definite bathroom match. Bathroom match.
They're trying to squeeze too much into one match.
Absolutely. They're trying to get everybody in. 7 matches in one night. I think that, so, okay, next we have Anything Goes. Johnny Knoxville, Sami Zayn, Jay, you're up.
What?
It's a damn degenerate, I swear.
I mean, that they're going to try to push Knoxville over. So I don't care. I don't really care. I think Zayn should win, but I know who's going to win. So next, I don't care.
Oh my
All
God.
right, Chuck.
Yeah, you're getting a repeat of Lawrence Taylor, Bam Bam Bigelow.
Yeah.
Rod.
Knoxville for the win.
I'm going to go against the grain. I'm going to say Zayn's going to win, but they're going to do something post-match and make Zayn look terrible just do something post-match. I think a loss here can really listen, I give Zayn a lot of credit. There were times I thought he was done, and yet he still keeps finding ways to be relevant. This is a very, very talented wrestler who does not get properly utilized by this company. This guy has shown there's more to him than just the wrestling moves and being a super baby face. Right. He is a hell of a talent. So I'm really hoping I think this match is a disgrace, by the way. Give it to the wrestlers, not to a fucking celebrity who's in his 50s now.
That I agree with.
Okay? I got to go, guys.
I'm sorry?
I got to go, guys.
All right. Pat McAfee, Austin Theory.
No one cares.
I care. I actually want to see this match. I feel that McAfee may win this, even though I want to see Austin Theory win. So either way, for me, I'm happy either way.
Austin Theory's winning this. There's no question. It's stupid if Austin Theory doesn't win this because you're trying to make him the new Vince McMahon chosen one. If he loses, you're fucking up.
Rod?
Rod,
You with us?
hang on.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're good now.
Oh, all right. I say McAfee wins it. These headphones.
I'm
man.
gonna say I agree with you, Chuck. I mean, this is career. This is career assassination. If you don't put Austin Theory over here, Austin Theory is an excellent wrestler. Here he was, 21 years old in WrestleMania. They've been using him as a puppet. Andrade's puppet, Seth Rollins' puppet, the Johnny Gargano's puppet. It's now Vince's puppet. It's time to do something with this guy.
Exactly.
Pat McAfee has impressed me. He impressed me in the match against Adam Cole. He impressed me in the War Games match. But I think Pat needs to be a heel manager, and I think he's better as a heel. That's my pick. Austin Theory wins.
I'm going to second that.
Absolutely. We just got 4 more guys. Triple threat tag titles: RK Bro, Street Profits, Alpha Academy.
RK Bro. RK Bro.
I'd say, I really don't care because I don't think Robot Chicken's going to win. I definitely think it's going to be RK Bro.
Rod.
After seeing the serious item, I wouldn't be surprised if Street Profits pull this off. They were the last team to beat RK Bro, so.
True.
You really think Robot Chicken's gonna win? Okay.
I thought you talking about Chad Gable when you said Robot Chicken.
Robot Chicken. The theme. Their theme is the end. Street Profits.
Oh my god.
End song.
It is. I can attest to this. I listen. It's accurate. I can't even fight this.
All right. My prediction, I'm going to say RK Bro, but I will say as a dark horse, the Alpha Academy, because I do like the new catchphrases, shoosh and thank you. I think there's a lot they can do with that. So if they make this less comical and more about wrestling, I think it could be great, but I'm going with RK Bro. They are way too over right now.
They're one of the hottest things in WWE right now.
And they're not Robot Chicken.
Let's do this match next. Bobby, this is an interesting one. We all know who should win, but who will win? Bobby Lashley, Omos. Rod, you're up.
Oh, so please. I'm going to go with my boy Bobby Lashley, of course.
Shoot Bobby Lashley.
Pipe down over there. In my opinion, Lashley should win this match. Build him up to be the first person who takes on the winner of Reigns and Lesnar for those titles.
I won't argue with that. What about you, Chuck?
I won't argue with that, but I can see them really putting the kebab and having Omos win that match.
Okay. Shay?
Either one, because I don't know. I mean, Omos is a force to be reckoned with, but Bobby Lashley is Bobby Lashley.
Right, I can agree with that too.
I'm going to say Bobby. Here's the thing. You only put, you got to learn from when they put Great Khali over Kane at WrestleMania years ago. You put Omos over Bobby Lashley. Do I think Lashley can survive this loss? Yes. However, let's be honest. Tall wrestlers do not have a good track record in wrestling. This one has looked great. He's looked like a monster. I give him that. Okay. Can he go toe to toe? Can he, with guys like Seth Rock, can he be a full taunt, like a serious threat to any champion? I don't think so. I'm going to go with Lashley. Second to last match, AJ Styles, in my opinion, has a lot of potential to be the match of the show.
That's the one I really want to see. That's the one I want to see.
What'd you say, Chuck?
I said match shows plural, both shows. It's gonna be the best match on either card.
That right. But absolutely. Well, who do you think's going to win, Chuck?
I'm actually on the fence about that. I have a feeling that Edge will ultimately win, but it could go either way.
Jay?
Yeah, either way, because dude, the phenomenal one versus the Radar Super, that's the match I want to see. That's the match I care about.
Right. Who's going to win?
I told you, it could go either way for me.
Well, gun to your head, who's going to win?
I mean, I'd like Styles to win, but I can see Edge also pulling it off too. So that's a hard one. I can't really answer that.
All right, well, we're not going to get an answer out of Jay. Rod, who's going to win?
I mean, considering the fact that AJ has basically gotten like no offense on Edge in this match, there's no way you can have AJ win. There's no way AJ should not win this match. You can't have Edge pretty much dominate this feud and then have him win the match. So in my opinion, AJ wins at WrestleMania.
I'm going to agree with Rod. I think AJ wins. Unfortunately, however, I think as early as after the match, if not the next night on Raw, Edge will come out and attack him and continue this because God forbid should a feud be one match and done. But I do think AJ is going to win.
Whoever wins, whoever loses at Mania is going to win at Mania Backlash. That's my prediction. It doesn't even matter. That's the story.
Say it again, Chuck.
So whoever loses at Mania is going to win at Mania Backlash. There's no other way to go.
Okay. Okay.
It doesn't even matter because it's going to be that because it's WWE booking.
Okay.
They do.
I go with what he said.
And finally, for the last, we're going to do this a different way, the main event. I'm going to go to each of you. You're going to say who you want to win and who do you think is going to win.
Oh, boy.
Jay, we'll start with you.
I think the guy who came out of his shell finally should win the match. But I don't know. I think I'm going to go with Brock both ways.
Brock, both. You want Brock to win. You think Brock's going to win.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, who came out of his shell? Brock?
Brock. Because
Okay.
Brock was, always, Heyman was always talking for Brock. And now, even though Brock did talk a bit in the early days, and Brock had that little stint with when Johnny Laryngitis was the GM.
Oh my God.
I think Brock, this new version of Brock is funny as hell. I like it.
Okay. Rod, who do you think is going to win? Who do you want to win?
I think Roman will win. I like Roman to win. Like I said before, here's why. Like WWE, if they have Brock win these titles and they have him off TV for weeks and months at a time, you legit gonna have both your titles off TV? Not just one, but both your world titles off TV. I mean, you're struggling with ratings enough as it is. How to make ratings worse? Not have neither world title on your television screen.
Rod, adjust your volume because you're coming in muffled.
Chuck, who do you think is going to win?
Well, I think I want and think Roman's going to win, but I am going to say that I am enjoying current Brock Lesnar because he's hilarious. But I think I want Roman to win. I think Roman is going to win because it's at a point where what else are you going to do? You've had this epic reign with Roman. You got to keep it going.
I'll be honest with you. I'm torn on this one. This is the hardest one to pick. I'm gonna go. I'm going against the grain with the new Brock. The new Brock. I don't know. This is too much to me. It reminds me of the American Badass Undertaker. I love the Brock Lesnar, who was a cold, methodical badass who beat the shit out of anybody who was in his way. And he's trying to say that's who he is, but he's got more of a personality. The cowboy hat, the ponytail, the jackets. I'm not crazy about it. I miss the old Brock Lesnar, but who do I think? I think Lesnar is going to win the whole thing here. He took his loss, back at Survivor Series or whatever it was. Now he wins here. So yeah. I go against the grain here. Gentlemen, I wish we could talk about Stand and Deliver and other things, but you know what? We've been talking for about 3 hours now. So we had a great show.
I want to talk about Stand Deliver. Braun gets it back. The Dakota and Raquel win.
I can see that.
The North American title.
I think Solo Sikoa is taking that.
I think that North American title's going to the moon.
I can see that too, but I want Sikoa to win it.
Hook, Sikoa, Rod, who do you think's going to win?
Turn your volume up, Rod. Try to visit. Did he mute himself? He didn't. He's cutting out.
I think Melo retains.
You think Melo's going to retain?
Melo's going to yes.
And I'm you know what? I'm going to go Grayson Waller here.
I could see that too.
I could see that. I'm not the biggest fan, but you know what? They're really pushing him as a big time heel. Give it to him. Give him the rub. I'm going to go with it's either him or Melo. The women's tag, we got Toxic Attraction against Raquel and Dakota. Jay think it's Toxic. What about you guys, Rod? Toxic?
I think we're going to have our first ever 2-time NXT Women's Tag Team Champions. I think Dakota Go are going to get the titles and have them way longer than a cup of coffee.
Gotcha.
I don't know. I still feel like I think it's kind of the Usos bloodline thing. I think Toxic's going to retain them.
Gotcha.
There's too much momentum on them right now.
This is true. I think, you know what? I think that, I'm going to go with Raquel and Dakota. I wasn't the biggest fan of them, and I'm the biggest Dakota Kai fan. I don't like Raquel as a baby face, but I think they're going to try to see what they can do with Toxic without the titles. Let's Ciampa D'Angelo.
Ciampa. Probably D'Angelo, but yeah, probably D'Angelo actually.
D'Angelo.
I'm gonna agree.
I don't know if D'Angelo's ready for that spot. I gotta go with Ciampa. I don't think D'Angelo. Where's D'Angelo done to show he's ready for this spot? Nothing.
He's ready.
I mean, he literally got beat by Pete Dunne in that cage match. I'm supposed to believe he's gonna beat Ciampa at Stand and Deliver? No.
I like Ciampa.
Had he beaten Dunne, then I'd be like, okay, yeah, he's ready for this spot. But he
2.0, they're gonna push him. They're not gonna push Ciampa. It's 2.0.
Losing to Dunne? Yeah, no, I gotta go with Ciampa. If this is
Ciampa should win, but Ciampa should win, but I have a feeling D'Angelo's going to somehow win that. They're going to find a way to do something stupid.
Mm-hmm.
Ciampa needs to move on.
Who's going to be the women's champion? Sky Blue too.
Yeah, I core Jay. I agree.
Okay. Sorry about that, guys. Well, Ciampa, D'Angelo. Who are you guys saying? D'Angelo?
I said Ciampa.
Let me move on.
Well, let me just say, I think, it's customary when you leave a company or when you retire, you put somebody over on the way out. So I say he puts over D'Angelo.
That's what I'm thinking too. Even though Ciampa should win, I think he's going to put D'Angelo over.
Yeah.
Okay. And next up, we got let's do the tag match. Imperium against the Creeds against MSK.
I feel the Creeds are going to take this. I gotta go with the Creeds on this. They got the most momentum of the three teams.
It's their time.
Chuck?
I'm kind of thinking about it. I could probably agree with that, even though I kind of want Imperium to retain. I could see Creed Brothers taking it, and you'll also see who attacked them too.
I got
or the people who attacked them are going to cost them the match, and Imperium is going to retain.
That's what I think is going to happen. I think it's none of the above. Whoever attacked them has not been accused, and that's going to be revealed. I love when secrets are revealed at big pay-per-views. So yeah. I'm going to go. This is a tough one to call. I'm going to, listen. MSK had a great run. I'm going to go with MSK. What the hell?
Cool.
We got 3 more matches. Let's do LA Knight versus Walter, excuse me.
Walter, next.
Yeah, I like LA Knight, but
Gunther's winning that. They're making him look strong. He's gonna be.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's gonna be like the next big guy in NXT.
I think
Frontrunner.
you know, like at some point we're gonna get Braun versus Walter at some point.
Yeah,
We're gonna have
definitely. Oh, absolutely.
I really hope they do. I like Walter too here. I'm picking Walter, but I really do hope they do something with LA Knight, because you know what? This guy has it. He's a hell of a talent.
Oh, I agree.
And the way they go when he hits guys in the corner, that's money right there. So but I am saying Walter. Next we got the women's match, fatal 4-way. Mandy Rose, the champion, she defends against Cora Jade, Io Shirai, Kaylee Ray. Chuck, go ahead.
And he's retaining.
Okay, Jay.
Sky Blue Jr.
Oh my God, such a degenerate.
Who's that? Who's Sky Blue
He's
Jr.?
talking about
Cora
Cora
Jade.
Jade.
Really? You don't know?
Cora Jade.
Rod, who do you like?
I'm going with Cora Jade. You know, NXT 2.0 is all about the future, and she's the future. So
Sky Blue too.
Listen, I'm gonna go with Cora. I think this can go anyway. This is a tough one to call, but I'm going with Cora. And lastly, the heavyweight title. Let me just say about the Dolph Ziggler Braun Breaker match. They showed a video package of Dolph last night, and you know what? It's easy to forget just what a career he's had.
I
And
know.
how much he's been through, from the caddy to Nikki of the Spirit Squad, to the blonde hair, to the Dolph Ziggler shaking hands, to the brown hair, to
Dolph Ziggler.
to the show off, to this, to that. He's really had been through a lot in his years in WWE. I like Ziggler. I really do. I just don't know if this is necessary. And I'm not the biggest Braun Breaker fan, but I do think he's going to win here.
Breaker's going to win. I like Breaker a lot.
Yeah,
Breaker's going to win.
So clean sweep. So
Scotty Rick's going to win.
Well, I'm real. We got everything in, boys.
We did
it.
It's been a good show.
Gentlemen, and I just want to say for the record, had we been more organized, we would have been done earlier. I'm just kidding. But listen, great talk. Thank you for having me back. It was a great time.
Always a pleasure, dude. Always an honor.
Back, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm sorry, Jay?
Keep coming back.
Hey, you tell me when and where, and I'll be here, boys.
Sounds like a plan. And on that note, guys, I think it's time to put that.
Before you do, my closing comment is this. Jade Cargill said it right. That's all I'm going to say about that.
My closing thoughts are, if you're a wrestling fan, this is going to be a hell of a weekend. Enjoy it.
Enjoy the weekend, gents. It'll be a great one. I'll be playing my gig, and then I'll be watching Mania.
It's going to be a great weekend of wrestling. Chuck and I are going to watch AEW right after this tomorrow. For those of you who give a shit, we got Impact and New Japan.
Hater.
And then on Friday, SmackDown and the Hall of Fame. Saturday,
Rampage and 100 other things.
Night 1. And then Saturday night 2. Enjoy WrestleMania weekend.
Super card of honor.
Later, Boom.
Later, just too sweet.